Bulls are still alive in the Las Vegas Summer League playoffs. Chicago takes on the Pistons tomorrow for a spot in the quarterfinals. Fire and FC Dallas square off tomorrow night in Frisco, Texas. The news, a service of Compassion International. For just 5 quarters a day, you can sponsor a child through Compassion International. It's pocket change to you. It's life-changing for a child in need. Be part of the change. Become a sponsor now at compassion.com/radio. Compassion.com/radio. 5:08, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's become a summer tradition. Rockin' for the Troops returns this summer on July 14th at Northwestern Medicine Field in Geneva, home of the Kane County Cougars. Don't miss this year's lineup featuring Seventh Heaven, Ayla Brown, Rocky Lynn, The Voices, and Ryan Weaver. Proceeds will benefit Operation Support Our Troops America. Get your tickets today at rockinforthetroops.org. That's rockinforthetroops.org.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal, and for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Call for your free sample now. 800-787-1010. 800-787-1010.
Highland Park Ford Lincoln's in the house. Here's Alan Marty.
For 30 years, we've been making people happy with incredible deals and service.
We're the best Ford Lincoln dealers in town.
Because making people happy makes us happy.
No doubt. This is one happy place.
Heck, we just break into dance all the time.
We don't break into dance at the dealership.
Sure we do.
No, we really don't.
We could. Come on, Marty, dance with me.
The Highland Park Ford Lincoln Superstore. Call 1-800-984-9000 or go to alanmarty.com.
Admit it.
Okay, you're a lovely dancer.
Thank you. This is Alan Marty. Deal with us.
Email phishing attacks cost businesses billions annually in real cash, data loss, and brand damage. Phishing emails are hard to detect because the messages appear to be legitimate to unsuspecting employees. Introducing Barracuda Phishline, a groundbreaking cloud-based solution designed to help employees recognize sophisticated email phishing attacks through interactive training reinforced by continuous simulation. Transform your employees from a liability into a line of defense. Go to barracuda.com/PL to learn more.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology actively invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you, the needle in the haystack.
Try ZipRecruiter now for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
5:11. Let's get an update on the morning roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good Friday morning, Mike. Things look pretty good on most of the expressways and tollways right now. There are some delays on inbound I-57, whole state of the merge. Overnight work is clearing in that area. It's about 18 minutes, I-80 to the Ryan. No delays to report elsewhere. Lots of overnight work is wrapping up at this time. We'll have a lot of traffic for weekend golf, as Mike mentioned. Also, for lots of weekend festivals, there will be some extra train and bus service to deal with Taste of Chicago crowds. A lot of suburban festivals as well. In Harvard, there's a closure of 23 between Lemke and Dunham due to a crash. Henry County Sheriffs are dealing with that one. Traffic service of unbound.org. There's a girl in El Salvador who dreams of becoming an engineer. There's an elder in Uganda who dreams of having a community to call his own. No two dreams are the same. Help one person achieve theirs at unbound.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
And Joanne Carner's almost 80. She shot a 79 at the Chicago Golf Club yesterday. Amazing golf this weekend. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, clouds and sun, high 90. Mainly clear night, low 72. Clouds and sun tomorrow. More humid, high 94. Partly cloudy and humid at night, low 74. A shower or a thunderstorm around Saturday, high 90. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
73 at O'Hare, 74 along the lakefront. This morning in Aurora, it is 64. Your next news update, 5:30, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So it was a fun-filled excursion before the House Judiciary Committee for Peter Strzok yesterday, and you get right to it. It was intense. Here was in pertinent part Trey Gowdy's opening statement before we even got to the Q&A and how quickly that got off the rolls.
About 2 weeks ago, FBI agent Peter Strzok was interviewed for more than 10 hours. We learned that Agent Strzok has a most unusual and largely self-serving definition of bias. Agent Strzok, despite the plain language of his texts and emails, despite the Inspector General's report, and despite common sense, doesn't think he was biased. He thinks calling someone destabilizing for the country isn't bias. He thinks promising to protect the country from someone he hasn't even begun to investigate isn't bias. He thinks promising to stop someone he is supposed to be fairly investigating from ever becoming president isn't bias. He thinks talking about an insurance policy to keep someone from becoming president isn't bias. That's for one of the folks he was investigating. He has a different set of rules for others that he's investigating. Agent Strzok thinks saying someone he is allegedly investigating should be elected president 100 million to 0 before he ever interviews her. He doesn't think that's bias. Agent Strzok thinks pronouncing someone innocent before bothering to interview more than 30 different witnesses isn't bias. He thinks claiming you can smell the Trump supporters isn't bias, but he doesn't say a single solitary word about being able to smell the support of any other candidate. To him, that isn't bias.
And Strzok turns out to be a weird little dude, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The facial expressions and the...
He rubbed me the wrong way. I do not trust him for 5 seconds. He's slimy. And maybe it's because we know that he cheated on his wife. I mean... There's other things that he did to betray our trust as American citizens. You know, he's clearly biased, and he kept saying over and over again that he's not biased. But I loved when the congressman brought up the fact that he was unfaithful.
And I've talked to FBI agents around the country. You've embarrassed them. You've embarrassed yourself. And I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, have you no shame, Congressman Gohmert? Oh, my God, what the heck is
Mr. Chairman, this is a
parliamentary point of order, sir, please.
You need your medication.
Maxine, you need your medication. That was my favorite. I just went, I really hope his wife's watching. Then I hoped his kids weren't, but yeah, that's embarrassing.
It was sort of, it was a guilty pleasure, and it was all punitive and whatnot, but it was sort of inappropriate. Louis Gohmert.
You know what? He deserved it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, I want to see him beaten up as badly as the next guy, but I think Louis would have been better to exercise a little bit more restraint there and not go to that obvious place and throw the whole committee up for grabs. Although
I think he did because there's no contrition there. He was all defensive, and his whole reasoning why he did what he did.
Well, what does he have to apologize for? He didn't do anything wrong.
Understand that my sworn testimony will not be enough for some people. After all, Americans are skeptical of anything coming out of Washington. But the fact is, after months of investigations, there's simply no evidence of bias in my professional actions. There is, however, one extraordinarily important piece of evidence supporting my integrity, the integrity of the FBI, and our lack of bias. In the summer of 2016, I was one of a handful of people who knew the details of Russian election interference and its possible connections with members of the Trump campaign. This information had the potential to derail and quite possibly defeat Mr. Trump, but the thought of expressing that or exposing that information never crossed my mind.
That is supposed to be an exculpatory statement for him, that he had information and he didn't unethically, and depending on the nature of the information, if there was anything classified about it, illegally leak it to the press. Therefore, I'm a professional who conducted my responsibilities without bias as it pertains to preordaining an outcome, guilty or not guilty, much less, as Trey Gowdy mentioned, a punishment like impeachment prior to even questioning witnesses or questioning individuals associated with the investigation. I mean, that is not an exculpatory statement. And he kept saying that no one has found any evidence of bias. And that's what Democrats held on to after they had gotten done wringing their hands over Louis Gohmert. That, no bias, no bias, no bias. That is not what the Inspector General's report found. That is not what it found. Horowitz didn't conclude that. He said, I can't prove bias because I'm essentially limited in my own interpretation of my role and responsibility to smoking gun-based conclusions. But in exchanges, when Horowitz testified before Congress, for example, with Mike Crapo, senator from Idaho, what you're telling us is you found bias. Those who you found the bias among said, well, we didn't let it bleed into our work performance, and you don't have evidence to disprove that. Horowitz, correct. So you have you have Peter Strzok's word that he conducted the investigation objectively and without bias, because Horowitz can't, crawl into his mind and rip out the guilty parts to undermine his impression of his own work product. All you can do is present everything that Peter Strzok was doing and saying throughout the investigation, and then you have to hold it to some sort of reasonable man standard of whether or not you think that Peter Strzok's political agenda influenced his professional responsibilities. Kim Strassel over at the Wall Street Journal asked a great question. On the question of Strzok's bias and whether we should believe he didn't act on it, this question every American should ask is the question every American should ask is this: how would you feel if he'd expressed such disgust towards you and was also investigating you? Would you feel like you were getting a fair shake?
Yeah.
How would you feel if you were in the position of Trump, him, and knowing what he thinks about you, and he's the lead investigator of you? You think that that's Lady Justice being blind? Is that how you'd feel?
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're insured by Mag Mutual, you get more than just medical professional liability protection. You get partnership. They're your partner when it comes to safeguarding patients, physicians, and healthcare teams. Everything they do is focused on protecting and supporting you in the practice of medicine. From helping you save money to mitigating your risk, they are your single source for customized service and support. Their promise to protect includes comprehensive insurance solutions for the practice, business, and regulation of medicine, from expert guidance to an extensive resource library and complimentary access to up-to-date. They're committed to creating a plan specifically for you, ensuring your continued success. You can stay focused on your patients, knowing Mag Mutual is your partner. Visit them on the web at magmutual.com.
For more information about Mag Mutual in Illinois, please contact Andy Baskell at the Horton Group at 708-473-2518 or by email at andy.baskell@thehortongroup.com. Visit their website at thehortongroup.com.
Napa know-how.
It's officially the best week of the year. Why? Because this week only, you get 20% off at Napa. And the only thing better than quality car parts is 20% off quality car parts. Okay, so we're a little biased. But don't wait, because the 20% off sale will be over before you know it. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, exclusions apply. Minimum 3 items. Offer available July 9th through July 15th.
What do you hear? Most people just hear an engine. We hear a 6.2-liter Hemi V8 with a supercharger that accelerates so fast, it'll suck the air out of your lungs and knock you back in your seat like you're an astronaut in a rocket ship hurtling through the stratosphere. But then again, we're not most people. We're the Brotherhood of Muscle. Dodge. Domestic, not domesticated. Dodge is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Check it out, GreatParkingLots.com.
Go to GreatParkingLots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Special early season discounts if you act now. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. GreatParkingLots.com. Famous conservative quotes, presented by Automated Systems.
One of the Gipper Ronald Reagan's most famous quotes about war was, "Here's my strategy on the Cold War. We win, they lose." In light of today's geopolitical climate, let's hope this holds true and history repeats.
It's important we support companies that share our conservative values. If you are a manufacturer, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Kulchar from Automated Systems. As a software and systems integration company, Automated Systems creates custom solutions to make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. It doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 500 or a startup, Automated Systems delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. For information, I encourage you, man, to talk to Laz at Automated Systems. Call 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and one of the fun exchanges, if you call it fun, it didn't seem like Trey Gowdy was having a lot of fun, but
he seemed annoyed.
Well, you'd be annoyed if you had to talk to this guy for 10 hours, too, Peter Strzok. The infamous we will stop it text, right?
Yeah.
The Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Lisa Page, his love, texted Peter Strzok. Strzok replied, no, we won't. We'll stop it.
Oh, yeah, here it is. It's fascinating.
Sir, I think it's important when you look at those texts that you understand the context in which they were made and the things that were going on across America. In terms of the text that we will stop it, you need to understand that that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population would not elect somebody demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States. It was in no way, unequivocally, any suggestion that me, the FBI, would take any action whatsoever to improperly impact the electoral process.
And now here's the actual exchange between Gowdy and Strzok on the topic, because Trey Gowdy wanted to drill him down on what exactly he meant, not what he didn't mean.
Here's what I want to know. Who's the he and he's not?
He is then candidate Trump.
So when you said, no, Donald Trump's not, in connection with the question, going to become president, what's the it?
Chairman Gowdy.
We'll stop it.
Chairman Gowdy, that text needs to be taken in the context
I'm asking, look, if you want to have a debate over a two-letter word, we're going to have to do that some other time. What and who did you mean by it?
Mr. Gowdy, as I've stated, that text was written late at night in shorthand.
I don't care when it was written. I don't care whether it was longhand, cursive. I don't care about any of that. I want to know what it meant, Agent Strzok.
It would be his candidacy for the presidency, and my sense that the American population would not vote him into office.
Right. Well, we hadn't gotten to the will yet.
Well, I'm trying to cut to the chase and explain the text.
The will is the American people. Is that right? That's your testimony. The will stop it. You were speaking on behalf of the American people. Is that correct?
Mr. Gowdy, what my testimony is and what I said during extensive asking of this question during my prior interview is I don't recall writing that text.
Are you denying writing the text?
What I can tell you is that text in no way suggested that I or the FBI would take any action to influence the candidacy of
Agent Strzok. That is a fantastic answer to a question nobody asked.
Yeah.
And it continued.
We have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out, the guy's name. That's what I want to find out, the guy's name.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Now, Abby, you want to be the manager of the baseball team?
Yes.
You know the guy's names?
Well, I should.
Well, you tell me the guy's names on the baseball team.
I say, who's on first?
So that's sort of like it was going back and forth about it and will. It was very reminiscent of Bill Clinton's definition of is.
Right.
And Strzok
It was
failed.
late at night, Dan.
Yeah, off the cuff, late at night.
He just ripped on Faisal Khan, right? Was Khan?
Who? Faisal Khan.
Not Faisal Khan. Khan, the ripped on the family member.
Yes, the Gold Star
Gold
family.
Star family.
Yeah.
Last name was Khan. So
yeah.
It got him bothered, hot and bothered.
I don't know what that has to do with the question of what did you mean when you said we'll stop it. Well, you have to understand when I wrote that. No, I want to understand what you meant by what you wrote. And we never got an answer from Peter Strzok, just as we didn't get a lot of answers to a lot of questions during his 10 hours on the Hill because, of course, per the FBI, he wasn't allowed to answer questions about the Mueller special investigation. So that took up about half the time where Louis Gohmert and Democrats weren't screaming at each other.
And today it's Lisa Page's turn, but it's going to be closed-door meeting. Darn it. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump and Putin. What does Putin want from Trump at 5:38?
And Trump is ruffling feathers in London. We'll explain why. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
73 degrees in Chicago at 5:30. President Trump says British Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan kills any chance of a trade deal with the U.S. May has been pushing for a separate free trade deal with the U.S., but she's also negotiating a so-called soft Brexit that would find Britain compromising with the European Union, not pulling out as voters demanded.
I actually told Theresa May how to do it, but she didn't agree with it. She didn't listen to me.
What did she say?
She didn't listen. No, I told her how to do it. That will be up to her to say. But I told her how to do it. She wanted to go a different route.
In an interview on Thursday, the president was critical of May's plan and said the Brexit deal would mean the U.S. would essentially now have to deal with the EU in totality instead of directly with the U.K. An FBI agent removed from the Russia probe is defending himself at a House hearing. Peter Strzok was grilled by House Republicans about anti-Trump text messages he exchanged with an FBI attorney who was his lover during the 2016 presidential campaign.
I am here under oath. I am not lying. I have never lied under oath, and I never will. And so the insinuation, not even the insinuation, the direct comment that you somehow say you have an integrity issue is insulting.
Strzok said text represented personal opinions. He tried to refute Republican claims of widespread bias at the FBI. Ex-FBI attorney Lisa Page will testify today before the House Oversight Committee. The Justice Department will appeal the approval of the AT&T Time Warner merger. The government sued to block the $85 billion deal. A judge ruled last month the merger would go through. A pay-your-age promotion at Build-A-Bear workshop stores around the country caused massive chaos. The company was so overwhelmed they had to shut down the all-day promotion by early afternoon. Build-A-Bear is apologizing and offering $15 vouchers so kids can get those stuffed animals another day. 6 are dead, 10 others wounded in a violent 24-hour period in Chicago. Shootings happened between Wednesday morning and Thursday midday. Authorities are calling the deaths of a Niles couple a murder-suicide. Police say Marianne and Robert Wodka were found dead Wednesday. Marianne Wodka shot and killed her husband, according to investigators, before turning the gun on herself. Dozens of cases of foodborne illnesses in the state being blamed on salads from McDonald's restaurants. Not just here, health officials in Iowa reporting a dozen similar cases as well. 6 will receive the Order of Lincoln next year, the state's highest honor to recognize public service and professional accomplishment. Supreme Court Chief Justice Ben Miller will be honored along with Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist George Will, BET co-founder and film producer Sheila Johnson, and Chicago Heights native and Bloom Township High grad and former Chicago Bull for a very short time, longtime Phoenix executive Jerry Colangelo. Today is National French Fry Day. Now, French fry lovers, you won't have to look far to find a sizzling deal on fries today. Chains like Applebee's, Burger King's, Carl's Jr., Hardee's, and McDonald's all luring customers with fry deals. But if fries aren't your deal, tomorrow is National Mac and Cheese Day, and Sunday is National Ice Cream Day. Chicago sports, Cubs and Padres on the docket for tonight. Sox take on the Royals. The Exmoor Country Club in Highland Park playing host to the Senior Players Championship. Kenny Perry and Illinois head golf coach Mike Small share the 7-under-65 lead. The news service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
How's your breath? If you're not using TheraBreath, it might be bad. TheraBreath is guaranteed to give you fresh breath or your money back. Available at your local drugstore. Visit TheraBreath.com for coupons and locations.
Hey, if you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, then dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, and your dental health. Hey, Sean Hannity here. So what are you waiting for? Find out now if implants are for you. Successful implants don't come from an implant factory. Skill, treatment, installation, those are the main differences for successful lifelong implants. That's why you need to see Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Neruzzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants themselves. You need the experience, the skill, and honesty that over 25 years of dental implants brings, and you're going to be happy with your implant. It's not a mass production procedure because everyone is different. And Dr. Neruzzi wants to talk to you about dental implants today.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics at 630-232-7400. They're online at implantsforme.com.
Attend the Lake County Right to Life Annual Benefit Banquet, Friday, July 27th from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Doubletree by Hilton in Mundelein. Mary Holland Fiorito from the Ethics and Public Policy Center is the featured speaker. Her presentation, Religious Liberty, How It Weaves Through Our Lifetime, will tackle controversy and current events as she examines the social and political environment of abortion. So many critics of the pro-life position complain that abortion is a women's rights issue. Mary makes it clear that abortion is a human issue. Religious liberty is under attack, and the 45-year-old Roe v. Wade decision still keeps abortion legal, yet there are many reasons for hope. Hear Mary at the Lake County Right to Life Benefit Banquet at the Doubletree Hotel on Route 83 in Mundelein, Friday, July 27th from 6 to 10 p.m. Seating is free of charge, however, contributions will be requested to support Lake County Right to Life. For reservations, call 847-223-7022 or visit lcrtl.org.
.537. Let's get an update on the morning roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy Expressway Division, a crash on the right side, not blocking any lanes, not seeing any delays there. At Eisenhower inbound, it is slow between 25th Avenue and Des Plaines Avenue, and traffic's also slow. Damon into the Burns Circle. 32 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 5 at 29. And Stevenson, tight in pockets between Cicero and the Rhine. 36 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound clear. But Ryan, delays start at 31st, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 has cleared up after overnight work. Bishop Ford, a little slow, starting around the Stony Island feeder. 18 minutes, 80-94 to Ryan. Northbound Tri-State, it's stop and go. Bensonville Bridge to Irving Park. Traffic service of unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment at unbound.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. A hot day ahead. The temperature listed is 94, but it could be a little cooler than that, especially along the lakefront. And a low of 74 overnight and a high only of 88 tomorrow. 73 right now. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and I can't believe this story has a day 3, but it does. The story of a woman wearing a T-shirt and being harassed in Cook County Forest Preserve.
It wasn't just a T-shirt; it was a Puerto Rican T-shirt.
Right, being harassed because she's wearing a Puerto Rican T-shirt, and
the guy who harassed her thought she was un-American.
Right,
questioned her patriotism.
And the Forest Preserve police officer didn't do anything, and this has become like an international incident.
It was in the A Block last night on NBC Nightly News.
That says a lot about NBC Nightly News.
I know, and the governor of Puerto Rico responded to him stepping down. They wished he was fired, but that didn't happen. Well, yesterday they had a press conference to make sure that, this doesn't happen again.
His resignation is flagged in his personnel file with discipline pending, which means if he were to reapply with us, obviously he would not be rehired.
So he can
There's nothing obvious about that.
He can get a job. And the follow-up question was, well, can he get a job in Cook County? He can get a job with government. He's just not the Forest Preserve Police. He's done.
He can't meet their exacting standards.
And they wanted to hear from him because they were supposed to. The reason they had this press conference, they were supposed to question him about why he waited so long to confront the crazy dude and stop. Why didn't you help out? Why did it take you 32 minutes to finally, separate the woman wearing the Puerto Rican T-shirt from the guy who is, questioning her patriotism?
He just, considered it being a really unfortunate incident where he really wasn't given a fair shake.
Wasn't given a fair shake.
When is he gonna? Does he have the capacity to communicate?
Well, he does, because if I watched some of the video again, and he did.
And I watched you in the
quietly speak to what his name is, Timothy Tribus, the 62-year-old, who, by the way, was charged with a hate crime yesterday.
Yeah, that's silly too, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah. He did speak to him, but the whole time he had his hands inside his bulletproof vest. And was just kind of, wandering around.
What did he say?
I don't know. You can't hear him, but he's actually speaking.
Well,
we don't hear his voice.
Can the former officer, can he say something, or can his union representation, since they suggest he was treated so unfairly, do they have something more specific to offer than just their edicts about his treatment?
No, they just said what he did was wrong, and that they are going to use this as a teaching moment.
Well, wait a second. If he's treated unfairly, what was wrong?
I guess apparently he said that he did eventually sit down and talk to the man and stopped him from harassing her. But the thing is, he waited 32 minutes to do it, and he was supposed to defend himself, but he resigned before he could officially.
So
publicly defend himself.
What is? I mean, and this is just classic, classic commentary on the unions. What is it exactly the union wants out of this? Do they know?
They just want to reassure the public that this isn't going to happen again. They want to reassure the governor of Puerto Rico, since we're answering to him, since Tony Preckwinkle gave him a phone call, that this won't happen again.
That's what the union's position is. That's what they're concerned about, assuring the governor of Puerto Rico that it won't happen again.
Mm-hmm. It's been crazy. And the woman who was wearing the T-shirt, her name is Mia. Oh boy, here we go. Irizarry.
That's a hate crime.
Mia Irizarry. She was interviewed yesterday by Carlos Jimenez Flores.
You know, I would never say that I want someone's livelihood to be taken away from them. That's out of my character. Even though he did me wrong, I would never say, like, I want him to be punished in a certain way. I mean, he definitely needs to be reprimanded because my life was put at risk because of whatever
life was put
issues
at risk.
He had, whether it was inappropriate training, whether it was
inappropriate
something
training.
else that he was going through. It put me at risk, and that's not fair because whether it's me or someone else, it doesn't matter who it is.
Oh my
we should be able
gosh.
to depend on a police officer
Yeah, I know.
to help control a situation and to help step in and to really protect and serve like they say they are.
Her life was in danger.
Well, he did get a little close once. Well, he's belligerent. So I think she felt fear because she didn't know what he was going to do next. And this police officer is just standing there like a dodo bird, not helping out when he could have said, hey, buddy, back off. She has a permit for this shelter, this pavilion. Move along. So do you smell lawsuit coming?
Apparently, this story was on the BBC World Service this morning.
No, I know. This is gone.
Oh, my gosh.
Unbelievable. And, of course, it's another black eye for Chicago. Timothy Tybros.
There's not one person involved in this who has afforded themselves well. Not one, not a single person, including the woman who was treated poorly after what I've just heard.
Timothy Tybros. I'm sorry, I don't.
This is such a sad commentary on culture. Let me ask you a question. Should the officer in the T-shirt caper case, should he be treated more or less? Should the shame mobsters come after him with more or less intensity than that Peterson fella down at the Parkland High School who did nothing while high school children were being shot? I honestly don't know because the reaction is starting to sound similar to me.
And
does that concern you at all? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Here's the story as I understand it. You have some dopey Cook County Forest Preserve police officer who, dopey is almost part of the title in Cook County government, who doesn't intervene to tell some crank, old guy, crank, racist, whatever, to keep it moving and leave this lady alone, and that's the end of the story. He didn't do it. Ultimately, it broke up one way or the other, and she went about her day with her birthday party at the Forest Preserve and so on and so forth. And he rode his little bike off to whichever Klan meeting he was going to. Whatever. That's the end of it. Isn't it?
Socks and shoes. No, that would have been, but the thing is we're so sensitive right now to anything that's, I know, the cultural diversity. It's just, it's everyone's on edge, honestly. But this Timothy Tybros, he was originally charged with misdemeanor assault, but now he's been charged with 2 counts of felony hate crime.
Yeah, I get it. And so what's your reaction to all of this?
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid that he said that, and it's dumb that the police officer didn't just break it up. Instead, it becomes this viral moment where millions, now 5 million people have viewed it around the country. Around the world, I should say.
And as ignorant as his conduct was,
it was stupid.
Telling some woman that she's asking if she's an American citizen and telling her that she shouldn't be wearing a T-shirt for the territory of Puerto Rico and she should, whatever, salute the flag or whatever else he said. That's felony conduct in this country. It's absurd. Brian in Waukegan.
Yeah, which leads exactly into my point or my question is, are there varying degrees of hate crimes? Is what this guy did worse, equal to, not as bad as what the 4 monsters that were just convicted or pled guilty yesterday of torturing that little kid for 3 days? Now, they'll do time. Will this guy do time?
He could.
Let's see, his felony charges he's facing. I mean, thanks for the call, Brian. I mean,
these are serious charges. A misdemeanor, he could have gone, pled guilty, whatever, and been on probation for 3 months. He could go to jail for this.
The charges, the severity of the charges, directly proportional to the media coverage. Directly proportional to how it folds into a political agenda. So you're in Cook County, you got Kim Fox, you got Tony Preckwinkle, you got the Chicago Press Corps. You turn this into Rosa Parks, and then you get your felony hate crime charges. And then everybody congratulates themselves, and then you have a press conference saying it's never going to happen again, and he lost his job, and we have exacting standards at the Cook County Forest Preserve Police Department and Cook County government in general, and everybody congratulates themselves, and we move on. And the culture is, defiled yet again, yet further. This went from like something like silly and funny and stupid, even though I'm sorry that woman was treated badly and that cop didn't intervene. He should have, of course. But that's the end of it. That's the end of it. Now this has become, a complete clown show.
Well, when I think of hate crimes, I think of Matthew Shepard. I think of James Byrd Jr. I think of, vicious attacks on people because of the color of their skin. And this is just a drunk dude riding a bike in the forest preserve who's ignorant and stupid. 2 counts of felony hate crimes. It's a little excessive.
Darren in Valpo.
Yeah, I just can't believe that it's 2 counts of felony hate crime for expressing, I guess, even though as stupid as it was, his First Amendment right, freedom of speech, when it's only a misdemeanor to cross the border illegally. It doesn't make sense.
Well, thanks for the call, Darren. How about in Chicago, where you have how many stories have we shared here on this program of multiple time losers, in many cases, young black men who have weapons charges against them, and they walk. Cook County State's Attorney gives them a walk. And what are we obsessed about properly in Chicago? About trying to reduce the incidence of violent crime on the south and west sides. Didn't somebody just shut down an expressway over it? So predators, it's a small percentage, but predators in these largely minority communities get walks, and the politicians are always preening about guns. They get walks on gun charges. They get walks on violent crime charges. But, now you're going to marshal the full resources of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in this idiotic case?
I bet you the charges will be dropped.
Should be embarrassed.
I mean, before...
The charges will be dropped. You mean they'll be reduced?
They'll be reduced,
They're not going to be dropped. They may plead them out. They're not going to be dropped. It's too high profile now. Marty in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, guys. I got a question to ask. I am not a lawyer, although I do play one on Facebook sometimes. Just kidding. If he's convicted, isn't a hate crime a mandatory automatic 5 years in prison?
No.
I could be wrong, but I thought if there was a hate crime, if you were convicted of a crime and it was considered a hate crime, it was right off the bat, whatever the original sentence was. Isn't it automatic 5 years?
I don't know what the mandatory minimums are. Maybe at the federal level. Thanks for the call, Marty. I mean, but you're talking about a case that probably gets pled out, as we said. Ron in Salem, Wisconsin.
Hey, Dan and Amy, I just wondering, what about Mitch McConnell? He was being called a turtle. Is that racism? Is that harassment against him or the turtle? Is someone going to go to jail, the turtle or him or the person?
The turtle. Yeah, thanks for the call, Ron. The turtle is going to go to prison in that case. Thank you for the call.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher & Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher & Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher & Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning on this program. Long-form interviews in our Against the Current series. Follow the Logic segments. Man on the Street interviews. This latest edition, the topic is civility in political discourse. Heart of the Matter, it's our series featuring professional women speaking collegially about the important issues of the day. Fresh Cuts, where urban denizens from different perspectives tackle issues like violence in the city of Chicago. My 60 Seconds of Sanity commentaries, and then also a podcast for our Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics, which airs Sundays at 3 p.m. on these airwaves. And don't forget our sister site, defendhomeowners.com, free property tax report on your home, and updated home sales information for your neighborhood and community. All the property tax and home sales info at defendhomeowners.com. Everything else at upstream-ideas.com.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
A glass of wine on the patio at day's end. Laughter from your teens and their friends gathered around the crackling fire of your new fire pit. This is the private oasis that AM Woodland Outdoor Design can create for you. Your outdoor space should be a reflection of your family's personality and a true extension of your home, not just a place to set your grill and furniture. A well-designed and constructed outdoor space can add significant value to your home and bring endless days of enjoyment. Spend more time together as a family, entertain friends, or just have a personal sanctuary to relax and de-stress. The expert team at AM Woodland Outdoor Design will guide you through every step of the process. They provide quality service with the utmost integrity and reliability every time.
AM Woodland Outdoor Design, proudly serving Lake, Cook, and Kenosha counties, helping make the communities they grew up in as beautiful as they can be. Visit amwoodland.com. That's amwoodland.com or call 847-224-2167.
Hey, I had a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow, and it's good to know that even our 45th president sleeps on a MyPillow. Yeah, he sure does. Mike Lindell, the owner and creator of MyPillow, was at a rally in Fargo, North Dakota last month, and the president recognized him, endorsed MyPillow on national TV. I love MyPillow because for the month of July, buy one, get one free offer is back. And I also like that you can move the fill to get the support you need. Never waking up with a stiff neck or headache. MyPillow is made in America. Washable, dryable, has a 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. And right now, if you go to MyPillow.com, all items are 30% off. You should try their pet beds. It's great because you can wash them and dry them at home. You don't have to throw them out when they get dirty. Sheets are fantastic. It feels like Egyptian cotton. So go to MyPillow.com. When you're ready to check out, type Amy in that promo code for 30% off all of the items. Or you can go old school and call the 800 number, 800-489-0201. 800-489-0201. Tell them Amy sent you.
There's always that time of day when the sun creates havoc at the office.
This is ridiculous.
You're literally blinded by the light. Can't see a thing on your computer monitor and feel like you're baking in an oven. Make your office or storefront distraction-free with custom shades from 1-800-4BLINDS. You'll keep your customers comfortable, protect furnishings and decor from fading, and have happy, productive employees that don't have to stop in the middle of a project because of the glare. 1-800-4BLINDS can get the job done quickly with their local in-house installation crew. You'll save money on window treatments that not only look great, but will also help you shrink utility bills with special heat-reducing shades that can trap heat between the window and shade. They also offer custom painted solar shades with your logo or photo image printed directly on the shade. Get the sun out of your eyes. Call 1-800-4BLINDS direct for a consultation today. 773-447-5448 or visit 1-800-4BLINDSchicago.com. That's 1-800-4BLINDSchicago.com.
5:58 on AM 560. Time for a dry basement and a healthy home. Time to call Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. And a quick check on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Northbound Tri-State has some delays. Bensonville Bridge to Irving Park. Kennedy, 23 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. The Ike, 36 minutes, 390 to the Circle. Stevenson, 44 minutes, 355 to Drive. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. That's traffic on AM 560.
The news, a service of Unbound.org. Around the world, there are young people who face a difficult decision, continue their dream of education, drop out to help support their families. In a single moment, you can help them write a news story. See Potential Not Poverty at Unbound.org. Chicago's Morning Answer continues after Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's Kevin Snyder.
Today, hot and humid with clouds and sun. High 94, partly cloudy, humid night, low 75. A shower or thunderstorm around tomorrow, otherwise humid with clouds and sun. High 88 and a low tomorrow night of 72. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
72 at O'Hare. And at 5:59, here are the stories we're following this morning on AM 560, The Answer. 6 are dead, 10 others wounded after a violent 24-hour period in Chicago. DCFS investigating after a video captured 2 toddlers hanging outside of a window. Chicago's Hermosa neighborhood. And a 4th and final defendant is accused of beating a teen with mental disabilities while streaming on Facebook Live.
The President and the Prime Minister. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump's meeting now with the British Prime Minister Theresa May. Live in London, here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, the President and the Prime Minister holding talks at Theresa May's country residence. And as the meeting began, the President said the relationship is very strong. This after he gave an interview to a British newspaper criticising the Prime Minister's approach to Britain's upcoming departure from the EU.
I would have done it much differently. I actually told Theresa May how to do it, but she didn't agree with it. She didn't listen to me.
He also told The Sun that one of May's main rivals would make a great prime minister. Chris?
Well, Simon, about that newspaper interview, the White House says in a statement, the president likes and respects Prime Minister May very much. As he said in his interview with The Sun, she is a very good person. There are anti-Trump protests going on around England today. A big one in central London has a balloon overhead of the president in a diaper holding a cell phone. It's a long day for an FBI agent called to defend himself in Congress. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, that is in D.C.
Chris, the combative hearing stretched for hours as Peter Strzok fielded questions about anti-Trump text messages and lawyers bickered over points of order.
Do you refuse to answer the committee's question?
Point of parliamentary inquiry,
the ruling of the chair that
point of parliamentary inquiry
was not in order.
Strzok said he regretted sending messages to his former FBI colleague and lover Lisa Page, but defended his honor.
That you somehow say you have an integrity issue is insulting. I take offense.
Saying he's never allowed his personal opinions to affect his professional life. Page is set to testify behind closed doors today. Chris.
Rachel, thank you. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is going to Mexico today to meet with President Enrique Peña Nieto and the president-elect there, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Also along on this trip, the president's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. Fox News, fair and balanced.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM 560, The Answer, WIND, Chicago. As press secretary for President Trump, Sean Spicer had a front row seat to history. And in his new book, he reveals details about what really happened behind the scenes during the campaign and the early days of the administration. On Wednesday, August 8th, Sean Spicer is coming to Chicago. Meet Sean Spicer and get a copy of his new book, The Briefing, at the Museum of Broadcast Communications. Tickets are absolutely free. Thanks to healthinsurancementors.com. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/briefing. That's 560theanswer.com/briefing.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event. And now, while selection is best, it's the best time to buy. With amazing offers across a full lineup of Ford vehicles, now is the time to make summer go right with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Stop by a local Ford store or shop online at buyfordnow.com, because there is no better time than right now to get behind the wheel of a new Ford during the Ford Summer Sales Event. The Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on the 2018 EcoSport. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
This hourly segment is brought to you by St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. More info online at sjnma.org.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and let's take a walk back in history for just a minute before we get to Peter Strzok's current status per his testimony yesterday. This is back in January of this year. I want you to hear from Chuck Schumer, as well as questions that were being raised about Strzok and Page and the text messages by House Republicans like Trey Gowdy and John Ratcliffe and Jim Jordan. But here's Chuck Schumer. When the specter of text messages between these two, Strzok and Page, was first raised, Schumer suggested this was a diversionary tactic by Republicans to direct attention away from the Mueller investigation, to potentially impede the Mueller investigation, and that couldn't stand, don't you know?
There has been a great deal of activity on the other side intending to either divert attention from Mueller or even stand in his way. I don't think that Mr. Nunes has played a constructive role, to say the least, and we're all worried about it. Mueller has to be allowed to do his job. I have faith in him. As long as he goes forward, everyone will abide by where he comes down. But he shouldn't be thwarted in any way, and the diversion that they're trying to do, both with Mueller and with others, is not good for the country.
Is that does it seem like a diversionary tactic now, or did it seem like a legitimate area of inquiry? Jim Jordan, again, back in January on the text messages that you recall we're talking about today, that were largely the subject of that hearing yesterday before the House Judiciary Committee. Remember, they weren't initially found. I wonder why.
They're not just missing text messages from anybody. They're missing from two key people. Peter Strzok, who ran the Clinton investigation, interviewed Huma Abedin, interviewed Cheryl Mills, interviewed Secretary Clinton, changed the exoneration letter, the now famous exoneration letter from gross negligence, which is a criminal standard, to extreme carelessness. Peter Strzok, who helped run the Russian investigation, interviewed Mike Flynn. That Peter Strzok, with all these text messages between him and Lisa Page, where they talk about Trump should not be elected president, we need an insurance policy, he should lose $100 million to zero. Now we find out 5 months of text messages between these two individuals come up missing. This is like the dog ate my homework. The excuse they give. This is something that just should not take place.
Now, 7 months later, what do you think? Who do you think was on point? House Republicans like Jordan or Chuck Schumer and his cry of diversion and obstruction of Mueller?
I'm going to go with Jim Jordan for 200.
Yeah, and Jim Jordan also had a seminal moment last month in the hearing with the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz on the report that he did, including Strzok, that this was central to yesterday's testimony as well regarding bias. Jim Jordan just putting this FBI under Jim Comey, under the former president, into this president, into particular context that's important.
I thank the gentleman. Mr. Horowitz, James Comey, Director of the FBI, Andy McCabe, Deputy Director, Chief of Staff Jim Rubicki, General Counsel Jim Baker, FBI Counsel Lisa Page, and Deputy Head of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok. These were 6 important people at the FBI, is that right?
Correct.
And they were the key players on the Clinton investigation and on the Russian investigation, correct?
They were certainly important on both.
Has Mr. Comey been fired?
Yes.
Has Mr. McCabe been fired?
Yes.
Did Mr. McCabe lie under oath, according to your report?
In our view, yes.
Yeah. Is there a criminal referral for Mr. McCabe?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Has Mr. Rubicki left the FBI?
Yes.
Has General Counsel Jim Baker left the FBI?
Yes.
Was he removed from his position prior to leaving the FBI?
I'm not sure of that.
Has Lisa Page left the FBI?
Yes.
Was she reassigned prior to leaving the FBI?
I believe so.
And has Peter Strzok been removed from his position as Deputy Head of Counterintelligence?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Horowitz, you've been in the DOJ for 10 years. You've been Inspector General for 6 years. You're chief of all the Inspector Generals. Have you ever seen anything like this at any other federal agency in your time in the federal government? 6 of the top people fired, demoted, reassigned, or left?
I obviously can't speak broadly to other areas that I haven't known before, but yes, this is.
I've been in this town 11 and a half years. I've never seen anything like this. Even the IRS scandal didn't come close.
It really is remarkable when you kind of go through the senior leadership. You go up the org chart at the FBI under Jim Comey, and Peter Strzok, as you heard, one of those 6 names mentioned because of the instrumental role he had in both the Clinton email investigation and the Trump-Russian collusion investigation. And again, here's somebody who didn't do anything wrong. He's certainly suffered some professional consequences for those things that he didn't do wrong. But Peter Strzok, in his opening statement, said, always conducted myself as a professional.
Understand that my sworn testimony will not be enough for some people. After all, Americans are skeptical of anything coming out of Washington. But the fact is, after months of investigations, there's simply no evidence of bias in my professional actions. There is, however, one extraordinarily important piece of evidence supporting my integrity, the integrity of the FBI, and our lack of bias. In the summer of 2016, I was one of a handful of people who knew the details of Russian election interference and its possible connections with members of the Trump campaign. This information had the potential to derail and quite possibly defeat Mr. Trump, but the thought of expressing that or exposing that information never crossed my mind.
Yeah, there you go. So how dare you question Peter Strzok's integrity?
But he said, that whole exchange of "we will stop it," when that exchange between him and his lover, Lisa, they said that he attacked, they did that because Trump attacked a Gold Star family, and that's what prompted these text messages.
Sir, I think it's important when you look at those texts that you understand the context in which they were made and the things that were going on across America. In terms of the text that "we will stop it," you need to understand that that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population would not elect somebody demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States. It was in no way, unequivocally, any suggestion that me, the FBI, would take any action whatsoever to improperly impact the electoral process.
He was trying to defend himself, but he looked like a fool, and he looks slimy. Does that sound, what did you think of him?
I don't think much of him, to borrow an Ellsworth Toohey-ism. I don't think of him, really, except when I'm forced to, as yesterday, because he's before the House Judiciary Committee. Here's the thing. Number one, he said this off the cuff late at night, but then when he was pressed by Trey Gowdy to confirm that he wrote that text, he couldn't quite confirm, recall initially. So he couldn't recall that he wrote the text, but he knows it was off the cuff late at night. Number two, don't care what motivated you to write the text. Want to know what the text meant. Will stop it. Will stop it. The context is interesting in terms of your stated motive. What you meant by it is the question. And this was the back and forth between Gowdy and Strzok that, turned into a veritable Abbott and Costello routine.
Here's what I want to know. Who's the he and he's not?
He is then candidate Trump.
So when you said no, Donald Trump's not, in connection with the question going to become president, what's the it?
Chairman
We'll
Gowdy.
Stop it.
Chairman Gowdy, that text needs to be taken in the context of
I'm asking, look, if you want to have a debate over a two-letter word, we're going to have to do that some other time. What and who did you mean by it?
Mr. Gowdy, as I've stated, that text was written late at night in shorthand.
I don't care when it was written. I don't care whether it was longhand, cursive. I don't care about any of that. I want to know what it meant, Agent Strzok.
It would be his candidacy for the presidency,
wasn't that tough?
and my sense that the American population would not vote him into office.
Right. Well, we hadn't gotten to the will yet.
Well, I'm trying to cut to the chase and explain the text.
The will is the American people. Is that right? That's your testimony. The will stop it. You were speaking on behalf of the American people. Is that correct?
Mr. Gowdy, what my testimony is and what I said during extensive asking of this question during my prior interview is I don't recall writing that text.
Are you denying writing the text?
What I can tell you is that text in no way suggested that I or the FBI would take any action to influence the candidacy of
Agent Strzok, that is a fantastic answer to a question nobody asked.
Bingo. And just going back to Horowitz, let's because they keep saying no one is found bias. No one has accused me of bias. He was kicked off the Mueller investigative team. That was just the appearance of bias.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Because he got caught.
Yeah.
That's why.
And this is what the Democrats grabbed onto as well. Horowitz in testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee. We did not find no bias with regards to the October events. What we say here is not that there was no bias. When he had a back and forth with Idaho Senator Mike Crapo, what you're telling us is you found bias. Those who you found the bias among said, well, we didn't let it bleed into our work performance, and you don't have evidence to disprove that. Horowitz, correct. So we're taking Strzok and others at their word that they were saying all of these things and doing all of these things in terms of different applications of approaches, if not standards, depending on who was the investigative target. But they say they weren't biased, therefore they weren't. And Horowitz is saying, look, I didn't find smoking gun evidence because it's sort of between the ears. I don't know what's in Peter Strzok's mind and heart, so I don't have a smoking gun to prove bias. You just have to look at all the facts surrounding it and come to a reasonable man standard if this was a court of law. But it isn't a court of law. It was an Inspector General report. So what the Democrats are telling you about what the Horowitz found has been wrong since that report was released, their spin, and now it's spin that's being employed by Peter Strzok to try and cover his tracks, or more to the point, his text messages. Tom in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. You know, something you guys had gone over, and they went over a lot on TV when these text messages, if you remember, they wouldn't release them, and when they finally did, was Strzok referring to the whole Russia investigation as that it wasn't going to lead to anywhere. And now, in his opening statement that you just played, he refers to not doing anything about the Russia investigation as a defense of his objectivity, But he clearly, and again, I think it'll come out probably as it goes along, that in those text messages, he said the Russia collusion thing was nothing and it wasn't going to go anywhere, and now he's trying to use it to defend his honor, which is just a load of garbage. You guys have a good day.
Thanks very much, Tom. Appreciate it.
And then can we play this one? I just want to see, pick your brain. Who buried who in this exchange between Strzok and Trey Gowdy?
Was that he kicked me off because of my bias. I'm stating to you, it is not my understanding that he kicked me off because of any bias, that it was done based on the appearance. If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016.
Yeah, because the left came out and said Peter Strzok buried Trey Gowdy. I think it's the other way around. Trey Gowdy put him in his place.
Again, I don't care what the spin was for Strzok's removal. Obviously, there's an appearance problem. And again, there is a bias problem. And
there's also a problem with infidelity.
Well, okay. but Kim Strassel has the operative question here. Since we don't know the mind or the heart of Peter Strzok, we just have all of these text messages and we have all of the evidence surrounding how the competing investigations, Hillary versus Trump, were conducted. On the question of his bias, Kimberly Strassel says, the question every American should ask is this: how would you feel if he'd expressed such disgust toward you and was also investigating you?
That's a perfectly put question.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. If it was one of the Democrats' allies or one of the Democrats themselves, and Peter Strzok had been railing against them, let's say he was railing against Hillary Clinton the way he was railing against Trump, would Democrats be claiming bias? If you had a report from the DOJ Inspector General like the Horowitz report on the FBI, would the Democrats be claiming bias? Would the Democrats saying this was what Trump has been saying about the collusion investigation, it's a rigged witch hunt? You think they'd be saying that? And would they be on legitimate footing to claim that? Or is this just fine the way that the FBI has acted? Going back to Jim Jordan's exchange with Horowitz about the 6 members of the senior leadership team under Comey, including Comey, that have been fired, demoted, or left in the last couple of years. Mike in Crown Point, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. I think the whole basis of Strzok's argument is you can't prove a negative. That's a logical fallacy to begin with. If you have to just prove you're not something, then nobody'd ever get convicted. Thanks. Have a good morning.
Thanks very much, Mike. Appreciate it. This bias issue continued throughout the 10 hours of testimony in between harangues. Steve King, Republican from Iowa, picked up the bias conversation with Strzok.
You hold with that position that your views are not biased, whether or not they colored your activities as an agent?
I believe they did not color them, and I believe they are not biased.
The derogatory texts that you delivered that have been before this committee for the better part of this day don't reflect a bias.
They don't, sir. And why? Because not a single representative of the IG has been able to demonstrate you've gone to a level, not one indicating bias. Not one.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Strzok. It's one thing to say.
Yeah. Are you still in your former position at the FBI? No. Why is that?
Because he got caught.
Why is that exactly? But to that, Strzok's argument essentially, I can have political beliefs like any other American, but they're checked at the door, and that's fine, except the evidence suggests they weren't checked at the door, and it's not just in text messages. Again, it's in conduct, how the Hillary email investigation was handled versus how the Trump collusion investigation has been handled. So do you believe Peter Strzok checked his political beliefs at the door? 312-642-5600, turkey.pro answer line. Take your calls. Chris in Woodstock.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I think that the reason they keep saying to this guy, well, if you were so biased and you let your bias play into this, why don't you leave? that the Trump campaign was under investigation. Well, why would they leak it? For one, they never had any real evidence. And two, I think that was their whole insurance policy. You remember, no one is even questioning Strzok on this insurance policy. What was the insurance policy? Well, the insurance policy is if Trump gets elected, we got this Russian collusion, their campaign all set up in our back pocket. We can get Trump impeached on that. That's their insurance policy.
Thanks for the call, Chris. And Trey Gowdy brought that up specifically. It wasn't just preordained conclusions about guilt or innocence. It was also preordained punishments because the I word was used.
About 2 weeks ago, FBI agent Peter Strzok was interviewed for more than 10 hours. We learned that Agent Strzok has a most unusual and largely self-serving definition of bias. Agent Strzok, despite the plain language of his texts and emails, despite the Inspector General's report, and despite common sense, doesn't think he was biased. He thinks calling someone destabilizing for the country isn't bias. He thinks promising to protect the country from someone he hasn't even begun to investigate isn't bias. He thinks promising to stop someone he is supposed to be fairly investigating from ever becoming president isn't bias. He thinks talking about an insurance policy to keep someone from becoming president isn't bias. That's for one of the folks he was investigating. He has a different set of rules for others that he's investigating. Agent Strzok thinks saying someone he is allegedly investigating should be elected president 100 million to 0 before he ever interviews her. He doesn't think that's bias.
Yeah. No bias here. Joshua in Elgin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, sir. I'm a little blown away by how we could talk about the bias and the infidelity as if normal people, everyday people, don't have bias and infidelity. You have
That's not the issue.
Everybody drilling.
It's not the issue.
That is.
No, it isn't the issue. Let me tell you what the issue is. The issue is, am I using my position of authority to cook the investigation for Hillary in one case and against Trump in another? Am I out to get somebody? Am I using my power to pursue a political agenda in spite of the evidence, in spite of the facts, not in furtherance of either? That's the point here.
But did he? But that's exactly the point, though. Did he do that? Because you're talking as if it was proven that he did that. All that it was proven is that he has an opinion on some political.
Yeah, but he interviewed Hillary Clinton. He was the lead investigator. He sat down and spoke with her.
But everybody can have a political view and still make their.
Joshua, let me answer the Kim Strassel question. If Peter Strzok was investigating you and he had demonstrated such hatred of you, would you feel comfortable? Would you think you're going to get a fair shake from this guy?
You know, I like that question because here, this is kind of the question that disproves everything, because every investigator, the best investigators, if you go all the way down to the detective levels in your local police departments, the best investigators have a drive, and the best drive are the ones that dislike the people they're going after, the ones that don't like the crime bosses, that don't like the drug dealers, that don't like all the bad people they're going after.
Yeah. Well, the drug dealers and the crime bosses. Again,
they're
yes,
it's the exact same thing.
So
people that have a drive to go after who they're going after, regardless of who they're going after,
and regardless of the evidence and facts, those are the best investigators.
Okay, that's not true though, because they just have a drive.
I'm sorry, Joshua. What evidence has been presented?
But what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a world where there's no way anybody can have an opinion.
No, I am not. No, I am not. It's quite the opposite. We talk about this all the time in the context of the media, where the media pretends to be objective, like journalists have no worldview. They don't bring any opinions to the table. Of course they do. The point is, I'm not done. The point is to disclose them, number one, in the media's case. In case of law enforcement, with the awesome power that law enforcement has, it's to do exactly what we suggest, is to check those political opinions at the door and go where the facts lead. That's what the best investigators do, and that's what the best prosecutors do. They're in search of the truth, and they're not in advance of a political agenda. And my point is, and Kim Strassel's point is, the reasonable person, if you had experienced the same animus, knowledgeable about the same animus towards you that Strzok showed to Trump, would you be comfortable that you're going to get a fair shake? And I don't think the reasonable person would say that they're comfortable they're going to get a fair shake in that context.
You're looking at things that were never meant for the public eye.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We see them now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So now you want to be willfully blind to bias.
No, because what I'm trying to
see you, Joshua. We've had enough. Rose and Lamont.
Good morning. I just want to send a shout out to all the men cheating on their wives that think that they're not going to get exposed. Not only are you going to be exposed, but you've got a chance to be a national embarrassment.
Rose really enjoyed that Louis Gohmert exchange.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Tom Goleb, Chief Financial Officer of Navitas Systems, a leader in the next generation of advanced battery technology and a customer of Signature Bank. A few years ago, I heard Signature Bank on an AM 560 radio ad, just as our previous commercial bank was being acquired. I knew Mick O'Rourke and Kevin Bastuga from a prior enterprise. I valued my relationship with them and the way they worked earned my trust and my business. So I decided to give Signature Bank a call. They took the time to understand our early-stage technology company that has its own set of challenges. Signature Bank took care of us, and now we are satisfied customers.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in today's economy, the IRS has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Qualifying for this program will resolve your tax problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back taxes by up to 90%. If you are facing wage garnishments, liens, bank levies, audits, or payroll taxes, it's not too late. Your circumstances may qualify you for this special program, protecting your savings and your assets. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's no need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free information, call 800-813-1105. 800-813-1105. That's 800-813-1105.
Hey guys, Ken here from the Business Accelerator podcast, Today's Growth. If you had to choose a vehicle to take you up the rocky side of a mountain, would you choose a Ferrari or a Jeep? The Ferrari's faster, cooler, maybe even sexier, but if you have to get to the top, the Jeep's a better bet. I think we can agree getting to the top is not about the driver, it's the vehicle. Have you noticed people often pick their financial vehicle like they pick their cars? Washington Post shared that only 1 out of 4 people choose a job that uses their college degree. Why? Simple. Something more immediate, maybe cooler, maybe even sexier came along first. Shouldn't the main deciding factors for revenue generation be production or output? Should the cool factor have any weight in choosing someone's income? If getting to the top of the financial mountain is mission critical for you, why not add a few Jeeps to your garage? Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that makes it to the top every time? If so, you have to see the Jeeps lined up at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, look who got a new suit to meet Melania.
And is President Trump Batman, not the hero we want, but the hero we need? One political cartoonist thinks so at 6:36.
But first, let's go into the newsroom, catch up with the headlines here at home and around the world. Here's Mike Scott.
73 degrees this morning. President Trump's interview with a British tabloid causing a stir in London and in Europe. His interview with The Sun on Thursday saw the president be very critical of Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit policy.
I actually told Theresa May how to do it, but she didn't agree with it. She didn't listen to me.
What did she say?
She didn't listen. No, I told her how to do it. That will be up to her to say. But I told her how to do it. She wanted to go a different route.
Meantime, London Mayor Sadiq Khan says saying he's soft on terrorism and has done a terrible job. That was the president's comments about the London mayor, and the president suggesting Khan's criticism of him reflects a disrespect for the office of president. President Trump's legislative affairs director is resigning. Mark Short will leave that post at the White House next Friday. He's one of the president's longest-serving senior aides. Former FBI attorney Lisa Page will testify before the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees today behind closed doors. Meantime, her former lover, controversial FBI agent Peter Strzok, was forced on the defensive while facing withering cross-examination from Congress yesterday.
Mr. Strzok, please be advised that you can either comply with the committee's directive to answer the question or refuse to do so, the latter of which will place you at risk of a contempt citation.
At a House hearing yesterday, Strzok insisting that personal opinions have never affected his work during more than 20 years with the Bureau. This morning, Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn of Texas are sponsoring legislation meant to protect immigration and customs enforcement. The Texas Republican duo says it doesn't make any sense to attack ICE. The agency has rescued 1,400 victims of human trafficking alone last year. The CDC this morning says do not eat Honey Smacks, at least for a while. CDC saying the breakfast cereal is linked to a salmonella outbreak that has infected 100 people in 33 states. Also in our state, the Illinois Department of Public Health says dozens of cases of foodborne illness in the state are being blamed on salads from McDonald's. And it's not just in the state of Illinois. It's health officials in Iowa stating they have more than a dozen similar cases. 1 in 4 said they had positively eaten a salad at that fast food restaurant. Cubs open up a set against the Padres. Sox and Royals on tap. Blackhawks shaking up their roster a bit, sending Marian Hossa and others to the Coyotes for former Blackhawk Marcus Kruger and a batch of other players. Hossa will retire as a Blackhawk. They're just sending his contract to Arizona. The 39-year-old missed all of last season and has a skin disorder related to playing hockey. The news service of Unbound.org, a more peaceful, healthy world, happens one person at a time. Around the globe, there are children who dream of helping their families, who hope for the future, and who have a name. The person you're helping directly at Unbound.org. 6:35, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager doesn't normally resort to name calling, but sometimes the shoe fits.
I hate calling people names. But it has come to the point where there are people on the left now so freely use Nazi that I think calling them an arrogant fool is somewhat mild, would you say, compared to Nazi?
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that use Balance of Nature as well.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. I take balance of nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Attend the Lake County Right to Life Annual Benefit Banquet, Friday, July 27th from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Doubletree by Hilton in Mundelein. Mary Holland Fiorito from the Ethics and Public Policy Center is the featured speaker. Her presentation, Religious Liberty, How It Weaves Through Our Lifetime, will tackle controversy and current events as she examines the social and political environment of abortion. So many critics of the pro-life position complain that abortion is a women's rights issue. Mary makes it clear that abortion is a human issue. Religious liberty is under attack, and the 45-year-old Roe v. Wade decision still keeps abortion legal, yet there are many reasons for hope. Hear Mary at the Lake County Right to Life Benefit Banquet at the Doubletree Hotel on Route 83 in Mundelein, Friday, July 27th from 6 to 10 p.m. Seating is free of charge, however, contributions will be requested to support Lake County Right to Life. For reservations, call 847-223-7022 or visit lcrtl.org.
6:38. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's northwest side, Diversity is closed between Central Park Avenue and Milwaukee Avenue. Police are investigating a possible shooting in that area. Eden's Expressway inbound, heavy Cicero to Montrose. 21 minutes, Lake Cook Junction. Outbound 21 as well. Kennedy, 28 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 26. Eisenhower, 45 minutes, 390 to Bird Circle. Outbound it's 30. Stevenson now 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 37. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis after the Reagan toll at Irving Park. Traffic service of Aruba Tourism. Happy Island of Aruba is nestled in the southern Caribbean outside the hurricane belt, so picture-perfect weather is practically guaranteed. Hop a daily non-stop flight from O'Hare to one happy island. Plan your Aruba vacation today at Aruba.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. A hot day ahead with some sunshine. We'll top out near 90. Currently 72 at O'Hare, 73 along Northerly Island. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight, starting at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Trump is continuing on his global lecture circuit after chastising Germany for their pipeline deal with Russia and our NATO allies for not paying their fair share for our common defense. Trump yesterday in the UK lecturing Theresa May about the weak tea that she has offered on Brexit, suggesting that a trade deal between the U.S. and the U.K. probably not going to happen if she doesn't take a stronger Brexit strategy, more independent of the EU. Yeah. Trump saying if they do a deal like she suggested, why would we do a deal with UK? We'll just do a deal with the EU.
Right, and he sat down with a reporter from The Sun who, of course, recorded the conversation.
I actually told Theresa May how to do it, but she didn't agree with it. She didn't listen to me.
Yeah, she didn't listen to me. So it's going to be a very awkward conversation. He's going to have lunch with her. Actually, he's having lunch with her right now. And then later they're going to meet the Queen together. which will be very interesting when he sits down with Queen Elizabeth.
Well, here's the thing. It's funny. It's very much like Angela Merkel. You know, he essentially was lecturing her when he was lecturing Germany about the deal, the pipeline deal with the Russians. Theresa May is very shaky right now.
Oh, yeah.
Her future is very much in doubt as the PM. And, again, you're not doing what we want, and you're in a weak position, and I'm going to exploit that.
And he is. And did you
That's
hear
what he's doing.
about Theresa May's husband? He was so enthralled with Melania. He went out and he bought a new suit. Look at, see, there's his new suit that he bought, huh? To try and impress her. I don't think he stands a chance, but he was,
Looks great.
It does. They do come in smaller sizes.
Well, this is a perfect segue to this interesting op-ed in the USA Today. You don't have to get op-eds from cartoonists, political cartoonists, but Gary Varvel, who is the political cartoonist for the Indianapolis Star, writes, Donald Trump is the president I didn't want, but now I know we need. He's Batman.
Oh.
I admit that I was wrong about Trump. He's not a clown or a bat, and he is delivering on his promises. Over the years, my characters of Trump have evolved, but not as much as my opinion of him. When Trump announced he was running for president, I admit I didn't take this millionaire, hotel magnate, reality TV show celebrity as a serious candidate. Neither did I. I doubted his ability to do the job, so I drew him as a clown. In fact, my cartoons were as critical of him as many of my liberal cartoonist friends. Farvell is a conservative, one of the few. Then Trump started the war with the news media, tagging major news outlets as fake news. He essentially writes as Farvell, I took it personally. I doubted his sincerity about conservative policies that he said he would pursue. I didn't like his name-calling and personal attacks, the Lion Ted and Little Marco. He goes through it all. He goes on to say, though, Trump identified the problems and fixes. His political promises were simple, repeated often, easily remembered: build a wall, repeal and replace Obamacare, cut taxes, destroy the Islamic State, renegotiate better trade deals, make America great again. So how in the world did Trump change my mind? He started keeping those promises. And he starts with picking Mike Pence, obviously Hoosier, as his running mate, and Farvell has high regard for Pence. Then, after taking office, a little walk down memory lane of the last 2 years, Trump began to reverse Obama's executive orders, burdensome regulations on businesses. He approved Keystone XL pipeline, cut taxes, economy picked up steam. Sure, he failed to repeal Obamacare, but its individual mandate was repealed in the tax cut bill. As a Christian, I've been accused of hypocrisy, and my faith has been questioned for not condemning Trump's past extramarital affairs, his language, his treatment of women. Look how deeply flawed he is. Well, so am I. The Bible says we all are. But evangelicals believe in grace and forgiveness and are commanded to pray for our leaders, so I support him in prayer. Trump has proven to be pro-religious liberty, pro-life, and pro-Israel. He moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement and the Trans-Pacific Partnership, began negotiations to denuke North Korea. I support all of these policies. And there have been a few hiccups: the budget bill that increased the national debt, the Russia probe cloud. But his ability to lead is the defining reason that Farvell has changed his mind about Trump. And, of course, he cites Supreme Court picks more generally, more specifically, I should say. In my opinion, writes Farvell, Trump has had the most successful 18 months as president than any other I've ever drawn. So, yes, I support his presidency. I admit that I was wrong about Trump. He's not a clown. He's a businessman, entertainer, and now the president that I didn't want, but now think we need. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line, particularly from Trump skeptics, and I know there are some that probably still are skeptics, in response to Farvell's reversal on President Trump. I mean, that's not dissimilar to my reversal. It happened a little quicker, with respect to the 2016 campaign. But no, I didn't take him seriously when he started.
No, I didn't either.
I do now.
I mean, and I tell the kids, Peyton and Eli, all the time, we have to support the office of the presidency and the person in office as well. He has done some great things that were mentioned in that article, but then, we have to put up with a lot of the BS too along the way, like the sideshows, the Stormy Daniels and the other women. And that's what that is. You just have to accept, he has made mistakes. He is a broken man, but he's our president. Well,
he's flawed. Yeah.
Flawed.
Yeah.
I mean,
broken. Sounds like he's like hit Skid Row.
No.
But he's been defeated in some way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Tom in Deer Park, I don't think he's convinced by our friend at the Indianapolis Star. Hi, Tom.
Good morning. His initial estimation was correct. He's changing his mind. It's the lowering of our culture that's accepting this. Donald Trump is a clown, and he was a clown, and he'll probably continue to be a clown. But because he's got some policy things through, and he's got two justices, we're going to normalize this, and that's what's happening. I mean, it's happened, it's been happening, and maybe in 100 years we'll look back and try to figure out what happened, but it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Well, I don't understand. How do you see politicians, Tom? Could you explain that to me? You're looking for the statesman, the elusive statesman that's going to appear on a white horse, are you?
I guess I got a little bit of that. I go back to the founding fathers who all had their flaws. You can go back to Lincoln, who had his flaws, but they knew how to comport a sentence. They knew how to comport themselves. And while they were all human and had flaws, this dumbing down of the culture and being accepted by Donald Trump, I think, is the lowest point in our history as far as that. Because Kennedy and Johnson, they all did weird stuff in the White House. It just didn't get reported. But now it's accepted. If the stuff that Kennedy and Johnson did and Roosevelt, if that got reported while they were in the White House, they'd be out on their tail. But now the culture's changed where you can report on this stuff and you can act like this and not be on your tail.
Well,
that's my point.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but that's something that predates Trump, doesn't it? I mean, you could argue he's contributed to over the years, but it's hardly solely his responsibility. That's something that's been happening over generations, as you suggest, number one. Number two is, I mean, look, I would prefer Trump, was more Buckley-esque as well, but he's not. And then the question is, the reality on the ground, which is more important, having somebody that speaks in rhetorical flourishes and conducts themselves the way that you would like to see a president conduct themselves in kind of your mind's eye, or the results that he produces so long as the means are legitimate. And the results he produces through legitimate means, like Supreme Court justices, like public policies, the deregulation, the tax cuts, the pro-energy developments, energy independence developments. That's how I see politicians. There are temporary representatives. They're not role models. They're not heroes. There are temporary representatives. They're the means to policy ends, and that's how they should be assessed.
I don't disagree with you, Dan. It's transactional, and we're getting a lot of good policy stuff. But it's the lowering of the culture, and I guess to the point of this guy thought he was a clown, now he doesn't. I disagree. He was a clown and is a clown, and that's on us. That's on us, the body politic, because you could say that Trump is a symptom, and that's on us, the body politic. We're a Kim Kardashian culture, and we get what we deserve.
All right. Thanks for the call, Tom. Appreciate it. Joe on the South Side.
Yeah, I just want to know, does anybody see the hand of God in this Trump presidency? I was a little bit skeptic of him to begin with, but I came across a YouTube video. It's called the Hermit of Loretto, Lorretto, predicts Trump presidency, and it's about a hermit. Anyway, the people should look at the video. It takes place. Its the origins start in the 1980s, and it culminates with the Trump being elected as the Republican nominee.
Okay, thanks.
And it's a true story.
Okay,
it's a true story, which is excellent.
Thanks for the call, Joe.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Delta Airlines fuel costs rose by $2 billion, and a Build-A-Bear workshop promotion backfires. Those stories are next.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
It's probably been about 10 years ago. I had quite a few credit cards. The interest on the cards was really high. I was making the minimum payments, but barely. And it was just getting to be too much, so I called Trinity.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976 to talk to a certified counselor.
They met with me, and they were able to get all of my credit cards in one lower payment.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, put a stop to late fees and over-limit charges, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
They did help me learn how to manage my money. Now, we have a house, and we're doing a lot better.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Holly, and I am debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Delta Airlines executives say a combination of strong travel demand and higher average fares will help them offset a $2 billion increase in fuel costs this year. Delta also contending with higher state fees in its home state of Georgia after the state removed big tax breaks in retaliation because Delta ended its discount for NRA members. A Pay Your Age promotion sponsored by stuffed animal chain Build-A-Bear Workshop had to be stopped yesterday when the company's stores couldn't handle the crowds. It had offered customers buy a bear and pay only their current age with a cap at 29. But so many parents and children crowded into shopping malls that Build-A-Bear pulled the plug because of safety concerns. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Your local 1-hour heating and air conditioning knows how miserable it feels when your AC goes out. You want it fixed fast, fixed right, and get a fast quote. Unlike some companies, we don't give you a quote until we actually see what the problem is. Then we'll give you our straightforward price and always stand by our work. Right now, get savings on any AC repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Turnkey IT knows that computer networks and all things IT are the vital heartbeat of any company. However, keeping up with hardware and software to hiring and managing IT staff can be costly and time-consuming, but there is a different solution. Now your business can have a full-time IT department for only $795 a month. That's what Turnkey IT's all-in small business package is for. You get world-class help, on-site and remote support, monitoring of networks resources, 365 hosting, cloud backup, antivirus, and so much more, plus new hardware every 4 years. Hey, where can you hire a reliable and highly capable employee for less than $10K per year? You don't have to with Turnkey IT. From 1 person to 200 employees, it's easy and affordable with Turnkey IT. You run your business, they'll handle the technical stuff. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
Looking for a fun summer vacation idea? Charlottesville in Albemarle County, Virginia is a short and easy trip with daily nonstop flights on 2 airlines from O'Hare. Tour the homes of former Presidents Jefferson, Monroe, and Madison. Sip wine at one of the area's 30-plus wineries. Take a hike in Shenandoah National Park. Dine al fresco at one of the many farm-to-table restaurants. Or stroll down one of the longest pedestrian malls in the country. Plan your trip today at visitcharlottesville.org.
The following is a paid announcement.
Now, Geiger Wealth brings you Grow My Retirement.
Thanks for joining us today, where once a week we get together to talk about retirement planning. Bill Geiger, how are you today? I've heard you say in the past where a 401k can be both a blessing and a curse. What do you mean by that?
You sign up for a 401k plan, the money comes out before taxes, you get employer matches, and you kind of forget about it. One day you look up, and there's a whole bunch of money there. That's the blessing part. The curse part, you're either at risk or you're not making anything whatsoever. You can roll the contents of your 401k plan into an IRA. In the IRA, you have so much more choice. Mike, I know you're going to talk about this in just a moment, but for the first 5 callers who call in with at least $500,000 in their portfolio, we're going to sit down with them personally on a complimentary basis and help them put together a full-blown plan for their retirement.
Bill, this is an incredible opportunity. Folks, nothing can be more frustrating than working hard your entire life, saving as much as possible for retirement, than having no idea how you're going to make your life savings last 20 to 30 years or more. Bill and his team at Geiger Wealth can help. They have a special offer for you today. They're going to sit down with you personally to create a full-blown plan for your retirement. Folks, this is up to a $3,000 value. It's complimentary for the next 5 callers who have at least $500,000 saved for retirement. Call 800-681-2498. That's 800-681-2498. Together with you, Bill and his team are going to translate the complex financial planning process into easy-to-understand steps with a roadmap to help you get to where you need to be. Call Geiger Wealth right now for your complimentary, personalized, full-blown retirement plan. 800-681-2498. That's 800-681-2498.
Geiger Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance offered through DeBlanco, Inc.
AM 560, The Answer.
Talking about whether Trump is not the hero we want, but the hero we need, per this Indianapolis Star political cartoonist's op-ed in the USA Today. Changing his tune on Trump, not a clown. Text from 630 suggesting Trump is more like Al Cervec, the Rodney Dangerfield character in Caddyshack. A little bit.
Yeah.
Not quite as funny. Terry in Rogers Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, I just want to say one thing. Trump is absolutely not a clown. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Definitively. Thank you, Terry.
And stop flying that baby Trump blimp in London.
Yeah, that's right. Dan in Libertyville.
Hello, and thank you for taking my call. A lot of people don't seem to understand or remember what happened with President Obama. He was very polished. He was a fantastic speaker. Hell, I even voted for him in the first election. But when he drew a red line about Syria, he didn't follow through. These people who want that kind of a politician don't understand the world we live in, and they want to have everything all nice and civil, and we're working sometimes with people who want to kill us, terrorist groups and such. You know, you look at, say, in World War II, we had Neville came back and said, we have peace in our time.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
then Germany invaded France.
All right.
We have some politicians who just don't get it.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Appreciate it.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to pick up our conversation about Peter Strzok's testimony at 7:07 with former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
3 wounded in a South Side shooting as Chicago police continue to investigate. Foodborne illnesses are linked to McDonald's salads. CPS rating upgraded slightly by Moody's. We'll tell you why. Cubs are at the Padres. White Sox are hosting the Royals. A warm day ahead. It says a high of 94, but likely cooler than that today. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Not what you wanted to see in the paper today. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The British Prime Minister Theresa May is meeting with President Trump at the country home used by prime ministers there. He's critical of her in a British newspaper interview just out. And a version of the president is looking down on a big protest in London, where Fox's Simon Owen reports.
Chris, there have been many visits to England by American presidents down the years, but never one quite like this. Protesters launching a large balloon outside Parliament here, depicting President Trump as an orange, angry baby. The president holding talks with British Prime Minister Theresa May and calling their relationship very strong. But he's also given an interview here to the Sun newspaper, criticising May's approach to Brexit.
But it'll definitely affect trade with the United States, unfortunately in a negative way.
And he talked up one of May's rivals as a potential prime minister. Chris?
Simon Owen in London, thanks. There's a court hearing in San Diego today about reuniting immigrant children separated from their parents at the border.
The ACLU wants the Trump administration to reunite 12 kids under 5 with their now deported parents, and it's asking a judge to make that happen in the next week. Court papers show the ACLU wants the clock to start ticking as soon as the parent obtains travel documents for the child. The Trump administration is pushing back, saying it's hard to know how much time is needed and that reunification should happen on a flexible schedule. The government says it's reunited 57 kids under 5 with their parents, and the deadline for about 2,000 older children is coming up on July 26th. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
The former FBI lawyer Lisa Page meets with members of Congress behind closed doors today. She traded anti-Trump text messages with FBI agent Peter Strzok during the 2016 campaign. He sat in front of a joint committee hearing for hours yesterday in public, with Democrats defending him and Republicans calling him a liar. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Sunshine in Chicago, 74 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 6 are dead, 10 others wounded. It was a violent 24-hour period in the city of Chicago. For Mayor Rahm Emanuel, the shootings happened Wednesday morning and Thursday through Thursday midday, and one of those crimes involved a triple shooting on the city's south side. A firefighter and 2 others hurt following a blaze on Chicago's south side. Firefighters arrived this morning at a 3-story apartment building near 81st and South Martin Luther King Drive. 2 residents were hospitalized in serious condition. 1 firefighter was hospitalized with a minor injury. A University of Illinois student was shot by police and recovering this morning. Investigators say the 23-year-old was armed last night, ignoring orders to drop the gun. He was shot in the leg. There will be more details in a morning press conference later today. The 4th and final defendant accused of beating a teen with mental disabilities while streaming it on Facebook Live is pleading guilty to a hate crime. Tesfaye Cooper made his plea yesterday in Cook County Court, judge delaying Cooper's sentencing to give the defendant's lawyer more time to prepare an argument for leniency. Chicago man caught on video harassing a woman last month for wearing a Puerto Rican flag shirt now faces felony hate crime charges. In an interview posted on the Puerto Rican Cultural Center's website, Mia Irizarry says she became fearful after Timothy Tribus yelled at her about the shirt.
Right before I grabbed my phone, he actually stood on top of one of the benches of the table. He actually got on top of it and was pointing at me like, "Why are you wearing that?" That's when the fear kind of kicked in.
Tribus will appear in bond court today in Skokie. Cubs and Padres on the docket for tonight, while the White Sox begin a 3-game series with the Royals this evening. The news service of Compassion International. Sponsoring a child with compassion is the most effective way to end extreme child poverty. Release a child from poverty when you become a Compassion sponsor. Choose your child now at compassion.com/radio and do your part to release a child from poverty today. 7:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
My name is Todd. I am a firefighter, paramedic. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I am no longer suffering from depression. With depression, you don't want to make friends. You just want to be alone. And it was a way of life for me. I have been seeing a psychologist for several years and not really getting anywhere. I've tried 11 different medications, which some of the side effects that I experienced were pretty severe. I finally reached out for help myself. It's very satisfying to know that something works.
HPR centers in Chicagoland and Milwaukee offer TMS therapy. In just a few weeks, you can change your life. And it's FDA cleared. It's covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Medicare. You can make real progress in the battle with depression, cure or remission. Get a free consultation. 800-604-0208. 800-604-0208. HPR centers. Go to endmydepression.com. End your depression.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that not only recommend it, but use Balance of Nature as well.
In my practice, I was getting to the point where I couldn't have the strength to see that many patients anymore. I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. It really affected my breathing and the strength that I had. and I was introduced to the fruits and veggies. Just slowly, my strength started to come back, and it was because of the good nutrition. I can't say enough good for Balance of Nature and what it's done for me. I recommend it to everybody.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event. And now, while selection is best, it's the best time to buy. With amazing offers across a full lineup of Ford vehicles, now is the time to make summer go right with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Stop by a local Ford store or shop online at buyfordnow.com, because there is no better time than right now to get behind the wheel of a new Ford during the Ford Summer Sales Event. The Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 72 months plus $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash on a great lineup of Ford SUVs. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 72 months at $1,389 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Not available on Expedition. For all offers, take new retail delivery from authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
7:07. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's northwest side, Diversey is blocked from Milwaukee Avenue west to Drake for a possible shooting investigation. Eden's inbound looks great. 19 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Outbound 22. Kennedy, 40 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 25 from Montrose. 16 on the Express. Outbound 30 to the airport. Eisenhower. 43 minutes, 390 to downtown. 28 from Manheim, outbound 34 to 390. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355. Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Bryan is 32 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57 Bishop Ford with almost no delays. Northbound Tri-State, it's heavy from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Very heavy from the Reagan Tollway to Irving Park. Northbound Veterans Memorial, a bit tight between 63rd and St. Charles in pockets. And then it's a little heavy Lake Street to 290, Northwest Indiana, delay-free. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, clouds and sun, high 90, mainly clear night, low 72. Clouds and sun tomorrow, more humid, high 94. Partly cloudy and humid at night, low 74. A shower or a thunderstorm around Saturday, high 90. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
74 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Trey Gowdy yesterday, House Oversight Committee Chairman, sitting in with the House Judiciary and House Judiciary Committee, which presided over the hearing and the testimony from one Peter Strzok, he of the famed Comey FBI senior leadership team, he of lead investigator in the Hillary Clinton email investigation, the Trump-Russian collusion investigation. And here's what Trey Gowdy had to say after kind of running through the instances of what he describes as clear bias in conduct of his professional duties by Peter Strzok. Here's what he had to say about how investigations should proceed in this country. No, we don't have that clip. But anyway, he talked about, well, here's what he said about Strzok.
About 2 weeks ago, FBI agent Peter Strzok was interviewed for more than 10 hours. We learned that Agent Strzok has a most unusual and largely self-serving definition of bias. Agent Strzok, despite the plain language of his texts and emails, despite the Inspector General's report, and despite common sense, doesn't think he was biased. He thinks calling someone destabilizing for the country isn't bias. He thinks promising to protect the country from someone he hasn't even begun to investigate isn't bias. He thinks promising to stop someone he is supposed to be fairly investigating from ever becoming president isn't bias. He thinks talking about an insurance policy to keep someone from becoming president isn't bias. That's for one of the folks he was investigating. He has a different set of rules for others that he's investigating. Agent Strzok thinks saying someone he is allegedly investigating should be elected president 100 million to 0 before he ever interviews her. He doesn't think that's bias. Agent Strzok thinks pronouncing someone innocent before bothering to interview more than 30 different witnesses isn't bias. He thinks claiming you can smell the Trump supporters isn't bias, but he doesn't say a single solitary word about being able to smell the support of any other candidate. To him, that isn't bias.
And the other thing he thinks, Peter Strzok, is that saying he had information about the Russian collusion investigation, concerns about Russian collusion involving associates of the Trump campaign, he thinks the fact he didn't unethically leak that to the press is evidence that he wasn't out to get Trump. He thinks that's an exculpatory statement. That was Strzok's opening statement in response to Gowdy. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Ron Hoskow, who's former FBI Assistant Director and President for the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund. Ron, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Sure. Good to be with you.
So how did you think Strzok held up under interrogation yesterday?
Well, I think Strzok held his ground on his view, which is even if you accept as true all the things that Trey Gowdy checked off there or listed off, that his bias didn't infect his work, that he went about his job fairly, impartially, according to FBI guidelines. And that's not a surprise to me. I guess from what I've heard, Strzok by reputation has pretty solid credentials as an investigator, very experienced. That being said, I had my own disappointments with what turned out to be somewhat of a circus atmosphere yesterday. To include the Strzok's opening statement. Look, I think any way you look at this, Strzok deeply damaged trust in the FBI, the organization, and that little gold badge that I used to carry around in my pocket. That damage, whether his bias impacted his work or not, the damage is done.
Yeah, but
and
he
the
brought
damage
this.
is.
Yeah, he brought this upon himself. I mean, he wasn't an honest man at work, I don't think, or at home. I mean, the fact, I know Louis Gohmert took him to task about, what have you told your wife? Does your wife know? But to me, if you're going to be an FBI agent and you're going to be an investigator, don't you have to start with some level of honesty in your personal life and your work life?
You absolutely do. Look, Peter Strzok is an adult. I'm sure you know people in your business and your neighborhood who are in affairs, who have trouble on their home front, and so are FBI agents pure of that? 100%? Absolutely not. But I agree with you. The fundamental notion is integrity, fidelity, bravery. Unfortunately, Peter Strzok wasn't there yesterday to be recognized and get a medal for saving a kidnapped victim's life. He wasn't shot at. This was all self-inflicted, unquestionably. And again, it damaged him tremendously. So, I don't know what's going on in his home life. I assume there's, great damage there. And it damaged the organization that so many of us depend on to trust that they get it right, and we want them to get it right every time. And here, regardless of whether the ultimate result is right, Strzok got it wrong on a couple of different levels. I did not get a strong sense of contrition by him to the organization that he damaged. He was defending the organization, but I just didn't get a strong sense of an apology to the organization that he is damaged.
Yeah, he was
same with to his family.
He basically suggested he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, there's no contrition.
It's sort of remarkable what's happened at FBI. I go back to, and I think we may have discussed this last time you were on the show, but I mean, when you see these guys handle questions over an extended period of time, as he did yesterday, it's just hard not to go back to that exchange between Jim Jordan and the Inspector General Michael Horowitz, at DOJ when he appeared before Congress to testify. And they went through like 6 senior level executives at the FBI during Comey's reign, including Comey, and where are they today? And all of them are gone, fired, demoted, or hurriedly left out the door. And so it doesn't impugn the entire agency again. It doesn't impugn all the rank and file field agents and all that. But I don't see how you get around the fact that you had a systemic problem with the executive level in the FBI during at least Jim Comey's tenure.
Well, I think first you had perhaps different pieces of problems. McCabe's were his own problems. That was, leaks that, very clearly appeared to be engineered by him, leaked to, I think it was the New York Times at the time, Devlin Barrett. Comey for stepping out of the traditional bounds of reserving comment, not commenting on subjects who are not subject to indictment or in a pre-trial or pre-indictment phase. And here Strzok on a different level, who was a couple layers down from Comey and McCabe, but certainly had contact with both of them during the pendency of these investigations. It did coalesce around the top, but to that point, my concern is just that, and Congressman Goodlatte kind of threw that out there in his opening salvo. And I think by design, I think there are certainly a number of Republicans, Jim Jordan among them. The goal is not just assail Peter Strzok and have this political theater play out in front of us. They had their answers in the closed door sessions. Mm-hmm. So this is theater. This is a chance to pose for the cameras, and they did just that. And I think there are a group of these folks. Their sole goal is not just simply to attack Peter Strzok. It is to undermine the initiation of the Trump investigation and bring it to a premature conclusion. Personally, I think that's a grave mistake. I think Bob Mueller ought to be be allowed to continue to do his job. But there are some voices that this is all about the Mueller investigation. Period.
Well, with all due respect, I mean, Trey Gowdy couldn't have been a more vocal proponent, defender of the FBI, of the Department of Justice, of the Mueller investigation up until recently. And even Trey Gowdy sort of had reached his breaking point with Rod Rosenstein when he was before Congress a couple weeks back. Move this along. This has to go somewhere, or there has to be sort of credible reason why it seems to be running in place. And oh, by the way, you are not above the law at Justice or at FBI or Bob Mueller. And that requires oversight by Rosenstein over Mueller and Congress over everybody. And so, the idea that this is all just running interference with respect to the Mueller investigation, I see this as more like exposing this to the American public so they're seeing and hearing what we're seeing and hearing on Capitol Hill behind closed doors. This is important for the public to see and hear from these principal actors.
Well, I agree with that almost in its entirety. However, I think we're in a dangerous place when politicians get to decide the endpoint of a properly predicated criminal investigation. I understand Trey Gowdy's impatience. Hey, I'm impatient too. But I think it would be a mistake for Bob Mueller to fold up his tent because Trey Gowdy is expressing discontent with the pace. I think it would be wonderful if this thing could conclude over the summer. We would know everything. All the evidence would be put on the table, and we would know which direction it's going in with great certainty. But the notion of politicians driving an end result, because who's going to have the loudest voice? Well, the party in power is going to have the loudest voice. Would they be saying the same thing if Hillary Clinton were president and this investigation was focused on her? The answer is no. And the hypocrisy in that room is eyeball deep every time they speak.
Actually, if they were investigating Hillary Clinton, I would be saying the same thing, and I'm a conservative. And the reason I would be saying the same thing is because if you got something, let's move it along. Let's get her. If there's something to be gotten, then let's get it. And they should be saying the same thing. The interesting thing is the slow walking on this. And I'm talking about even, Michael Flynn's sentencing to the Paul Manafort prosecution. Nobody's put an artificial deadline on Mueller other than to say this has to go somewhere at some point. I mean, come on. And I don't think that's unreasonable.
No, it's not unreasonable, Dan, but perhaps I said it to you guys on your show. I was predicting at the beginning of this, when Bob Mueller was named, start thinking in terms of at least 18 months. Why? Because you have a lot of complexity to an investigation that has international facets to it. This has many. So to get the documents you need, to get phone records, transactional records, that alone is potentially going to take months, because in some cases you're going to be dependent on institutions and people overseas who may or may not want to comply, may delay. And so the starting point in my mind, having experience in these matters, was maybe 18 months. I agree with you on the Flynn sentencing. That's been delayed by a judge at Mueller's request. Manafort's coming up for trial, I think, in about a week and a half when his trial starts. Some of those deadlines, some of those targets are set by a federal judge, not by Bob Mueller.
That's true. But with Manafort, I mean, not that this is necessarily dispositive of the issue, but it is interesting to note that he made it clear in back and forth between counsel before a judge that Russian collusion is not going to be part of the prosecution's evidence against Mueller with respect to his alleged financial crimes.
Right. There's I think unmistakably right now, Manafort's being squeezed by Mueller's hand, and I think it's very clear what we all expect that he wants out of that is cooperation on something more nefarious, something closer to the campaign in Russia. Whether it's there, we don't know. Perhaps it'll be exposed. Perhaps it doesn't exist. That's the difficulty of some of these investigations. Somebody who you desperately want cooperation from requires their prosecution to get it, and even then they may not give it. And so that could bring about the natural conclusion of Mueller's investigation. These things take time. Defendants and potential defendants get attorneys. They're moving their chess pieces around the board, in a way that they think is most advantageous to them. And Bob Mueller has some moves remaining as well. And the net result of that is here we are 16 months later, and we're waiting.
All right. He is Ron Hoskow, former FBI Assistant Director, now the President for the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund. Ron, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you.
You guys too. Have a great day.
You too.
Yep, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey guys, Ken here from the Business Accelerator podcast, Today's Growth. If you had to choose a vehicle to take you up the rocky side of a mountain, would you choose a Ferrari or a Jeep? The Ferrari's faster, cooler, maybe even sexier, but if you have to get to the top, the Jeep's a better bet. I think we can agree getting to the top is not about the driver, it's the vehicle. Have you noticed people often pick their financial vehicle like they pick their cars? Washington Post shared that only 1 out of 4 people choose a job that uses their college degree. Why? Simple. Something more immediate, maybe cooler, maybe even sexier came along first. Shouldn't the main deciding factors for revenue generation be production or output? Should the cool factor have any weight in choosing someone's income? If getting to the top of the financial mountain is mission critical for you, why not add a few Jeeps to your garage? Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that makes it to the top every time? If so, you have to see the Jeeps lined up at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Napa know-how. It's officially the best week of the year. Why? Because this week only, you get 20% off at Napa. And the only thing better than quality car parts is 20% off quality car parts. Okay, so we're a little biased. But don't wait, because the 20% off sale will be over before you know it. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, exclusions apply. Minimum 3 items. Offer available July 9th through July 15th.
What do you hear? Most people just hear an engine. We hear a 6.2-liter Hemi V8 with a supercharger that accelerates so fast, it'll suck the air out of your lungs and knock you back in your seat like you're an astronaut in a rocket ship hurtling through the stratosphere. But then again, we're not most people. We're the Brotherhood of Muscle. Dodge. Domestic, not domesticated. Dodge is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Pain drugs are addictive and have side effects. Get off the drugs and get rid of the pain. You don't need to live in pain with chronic pain. Let's repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst from an accident or pain that just develops. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the most respected and successful pain doctors in the world. Dr. Candido will work to find the source of your chronic pain and fix it. He teaches pain management around the world and has been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Okay, you get it. He's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off the pain medication and all of its side effects. You can get your life back. Drugs mask the pain. Find the source and fix it. Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. Mypainchicago.com is the website. Thousands have been helped with chronic pain. You can be the next one. Get the phone number and all of the info at mypainchicago.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
So I heard Stormy got off in Columbus.
Hey. Yeah,
These things really write themselves.
Yeah, they do. They dropped the charges against her. She shouldn't have been charged in the first place. They basically had 4 undercover police officers, 2 females, 2 men, that went into the nightclub, and she was naked and was wearing just a G-string. Okay, this is getting uncomfortable. And apparently rubbed her tatas, potassious tatas, in front of, on the woman, I guess, the female undercover police officer, and then also on the male police officer. But it wasn't lewd conduct. It's an illegal setting. So they apologized. Police chief apologized. Not
How much
publicly,
did they?
But just said we're so sorry. And
Actually, no, that wasn't the reason. It's the law in Columbus is for.
Oh, somebody's been studying this.
Yeah.
Yes, please tell me.
This is the area of the law I'm a particular expert in. Thank you. But and I just read about it, and the law is for repeat or usual performers. Right. So because she was like a
visiting
2-night only star, yeah, it doesn't apply to her. And but the good news is she doesn't have to return the tips that the cops gave her.
Oh, that's right. No, it's she. Yeah, and it was no publicity is bad publicity, right?
No, I don't agree with that.
You don't?
I think that is absolutely incorrect. But I do know that Michael Avenatti, her attorney, believes what you just said, that no publicity is bad publicity, and I think he's working on the Lifetime movie of Stormy in Columbus as we speak.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
American Federation for Teachers has their conference this weekend, and we've got some highlights from their agenda, and all I can say is if you're a teacher, you should be thanking Mark Janus and the United States Supreme Court.
And later, was it really worth a hate crime charge? We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
74 degrees. Partly sunny skies this morning. President Trump says British Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan is killing any chance of a trade deal with the U.S. May has been pushing for a free trade deal with the United States, but also negotiating a so-called soft Brexit that would find Britain compromising with the EU and angering voters who wanted to pull out of the EU.
I actually told Theresa May how to do it, but she didn't agree with it. She didn't listen to me.
What did she say?
She didn't listen. No, I told her how to do it. That will be up to her to say. But I told her how to do it. She wanted to go a different route.
In an interview, the president was critical of May's plan, saying the Brexit deal would mean the U.S. would essentially be dealing with the EU directly instead of the UK directly. The Justice Department is appealing an approval of the AT&T Time Warner merger. Government sued to block the $85 billion deal. An FBI agent who was removed from the Russia probe tried to defend himself in front of a House hearing yesterday. Peter Strzok was grilled by House Republicans about anti-Trump text messages that he exchanged with an FBI attorney.
I am here under oath. I am not lying. I have never lied under oath, and I never will. And so the insinuation, not even the insinuation, the direct comment that you somehow say you have an integrity issue is insulting.
The ex-FBI attorney Lisa Page, who Strzok had an affair with, will testify today before the House Oversight and Judiciary Committee. Here in Chicago, 6 are dead, 10 others wounded, following a violent 24-hour period. It happened in Chicago between Wednesday morning and Thursday midday. One of those crimes involved a triple shooting on the city's south side. Authorities are calling the deaths of a Niles couple a murder-suicide. Mary Ann and Robert Wodka were found dead Wednesday in their home in the 8700 block of Madison. Police say Mary Ann Wodka shot and killed her husband before turning the gun on herself, and a handgun was found near the bodies. Chicago Public Schools receiving what they think is some good news about their finances. Moody's Investors is raising the bond rating for CPS one notch higher to B2, but still buried in junk status. The upgrade is tied to several factors, including a major tax hike on citizens of the city of Chicago. Chicago Aviation Department Deputy Commissioner is accused of bullying and harassing several employees and has been suspended for 5 days. Juan Manzano has been under investigation for months. He once worked for Alderman George Cardenas, who believes the suspension is politically motivated. Cubs open up their last set before the All-Star break with the first of 3 against the Padres. White Sox begin a 3-game home series with the Royals tonight. Kenny Perry and University of Illinois head golf coach Mike Small shot 7 under 65s. They share a one-stroke lead after one round of the Constellation Senior Players Championship at the Exmoor Country Club in Highland Park. The news service of Compassion International. For just $5 a day, you can sponsor a child through Compassion International. It's pocket change to you, life-changing for a child in need. Be part of the change. Become a sponsor now at compassion.com/radio, compassion.com/radio. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager doesn't normally resort to name calling, but sometimes the shoe fits.
I hate calling people names, but it has come to the point where there are people on the left now so freely use Nazi that I think calling them an arrogant fool is somewhat mild, would you say, compared to Nazi?
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Pursue your passion with a degree from Aurora University Online. Choose fully online programs in business, computer science, and more. To learn more, visit online.aurora.edu.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that not only recommend it, but use Balance of Nature as well.
I look at Balance of Nature and I look what it's doing for me as I've started taking it, and for the patients that I have that are taking it, it's been phenomenal watching the changes that have happened and how much healthier and how much more energy that they have. I haven't heard any negative feedback from any of my patients who have been taking the product. The thing that amazes me with it is that it's so simple.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. If you get the feeling your deposits don't matter to your bank, then maybe you're not with the right bank. At Signature Bank, your deposits matter to us as much as your business loans. Signature provides unmatched banking expertise, custom financial solutions, and the industry's best technology to closely held Chicagoland businesses. Whether your business is looking for a deposit relationship or needs a ready source for financing, Signature Bank is the right bank for you. Call us today to see how Signature Bank can help your business grow and thrive.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
7:36. Let's get an update on the morning ride to work in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the northbound Tri-State Tollway, traffic is slow this morning from 75th to 31st, and then it's very slow between the Reagan Tollway and Irving Park. The Adams and Reagan Tollways are fine. Northbound Veterans Memorial, we see slow pockets between 63rd and St. Charles, and it's a bit tight from Lake Street to 290. 53 is clear, so is 390. The Edens, 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. Kennedy, inbound delay start at Foster, 34 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 22 from Montrose, 16 on the Express, outbound 33 minutes to O'Hare. Eisenhower, 45 minutes, 390 to downtown, 30 from Manheim, outbound 42 to 390. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. The Ryan, 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic, service of Aruba Tourism. The happy island of Aruba is nestled in the southern Caribbean outside the hurricane belt. So picture-perfect weather is practically guaranteed. Hop a daily non-stop flight from O'Hare to one happy island. Plan your Aruba vacation today at Aruba.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. A hot day. High near 90, partly cloudy, and 74 overnight, and a high of 85 with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow. 74 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Saturdays at noon on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy comes your way now. And make sure to join me, Larry Elder, tonight at 7, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Is this the Toto version or the Weezer cover?
Toto.
Which one is it? Is it the
take
Weezer?
Me life to
is
drag
the Weezer
me
cover?
with you.
Oh man. Oof.
Yeah.
Glad it's not the Amy Jacobson cover. All right. Hey, American Federation of Teachers. Randy Weingarten and the gals, they've got their conference this weekend.
Oh, where?
I don't know.
You gonna go crash it?
No, nope. They're holding their annual convention this weekend, and as the Wall Street Journal opines, it's like one long brief, amicus brief in support of the Supreme Court's recent ruling in the Mark Janus case that eliminated fair share.
Right. And unions stand to lose tens of thousands of dollars. Or more than that?
Or $2 billion nationally.
Or $2 billion?
Yeah. Tens of thousands of members in big, big states, big cities like Chicago. Here's some of what's on the agenda. Remember, we did this last year in advance of their convention, just to give you a sense of what the teachers' unions are up to, how they're spending your union dues, teachers.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's 90 resolutions that have to be voted upon at the convention. They include promoting single-payer health care, free college, opposition to the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Oh, my God. That's a teachers' union?
Yeah. The union's Berkeley affiliate wants President Trump's immediate resignation or removal. They'll take either.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. A resolution denouncing Mondelez for moving Nabisco cookie production to Mexico.
I know they were so worldly.
And urging local affiliates to pressure employers to sell or carry only Nabisco products made in free union workplaces on their schools and campuses. Cookies now subject of collective bargaining. Another resolution calls on school districts, colleges, universities to offer their students diverse views about military service and the ROTC. balancing military service with the arguments of critics of military service, including the health risks associated with military service and the views of anti-war groups.
Goodness.
Also, advocate resolution advocating for the removal of the U.S.'s Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System in South Korea.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not kidding. That's just some of what's on the agenda this weekend at the American Federation for Teachers.
They're going to be
convention.
busy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to have time for a break.
It's interesting. The NEA, the National Education Association, the other big teachers union, is already projecting a 14% decline in membership. It's cutting its budget by $28 million in the wake of Janus. So it's a reminder that the teachers unions are just political arms, at least at the leadership level, and many in the rank and file in places like Chicago, for some reason. They're just political arms of the left and the Democratic Party, as the instrument of the left. That's what they are. So if you don't want your money spent on that, you get to opt out. And let's be clear about something, too. It'd be interesting to hear from any members who are trying to get out in Illinois and can't, because there's going to be a lot of post-Janus litigation. And it's going to be these interpretations like AFSCME is providing in Illinois, saying you have to, opt out of the union. Judge Alito's opinion is very clear. You're out. You're out of the union. You have to opt in because you were the whole point of Janus is you were improperly coerced into the union in the first place. So now you're out of the union, and so that should be reflected on your paycheck. The monies should not be extracted. The fair share fee should not be extracted from your paycheck anymore. If you're a member of AFSCME, SEIU, or a teacher in this state, shouldn't be happening. I know Mark Janus's paycheck has already gotten corrected. That's probably the first paycheck they corrected.
I hope so.
So FYI, that should, because it is an opt-in regime now. It's an opt-in protocol, not an opt-out. And so, but you're going to have unions that are trying to bail water and hold on to members that want to get out once they understand what's happening, or don't know that they are out and maybe aren't looking at their paychecks. Because, of course, you're talking about big money. As I said, the NEA alone projecting a 14% decline in membership and cutting its budget by $28 million in this post-Janus world. Interesting. And maybe that'll help us deal with something in Illinois like our pension problem. Just a reminder what we're talking about here, the public sector unions that have dominated this state and financed the established political power structure, both parties at the leadership level, because the Republicans at the leadership level have been part of this too. They're terrible, terrible. So I just want people to understand, yes, Chicago Democrats bear the preponderance of the responsibility, but there's a whole lot of Republicans at the leadership level for a long time in the party that have been party to this catastrophe. In 1987, pension promises, this is Ted Dabrowski's work over at WirePoints. 1987, pension promises made to active workers and retirees in the state's 5 state-run pensions plans total $18 billion. By 2016, it was $208 billion. 1,067% increase in the promises made to public sector pensioners during that 20-year period. The state's budget during that same period grew by 1/5 of the pension obligations. Household incomes in Illinois grew by 1/10 of what pension obligations grew by. So the state budget grew by twice household incomes over the last 20 years, but we don't have a spending problem. And pension obligations grew by almost a factor of 10 over household incomes in the past 20 years, but we don't have a spending problem. And we're not conferring benefits that we can't afford. Don't you believe that? Believe Cullerton and Madigan and the other Shetland Democrats. Okay. All right. Sure. Terry in Lake Villa, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mr. and Ms. Jacobson, I have a proposal that could we do a ballot initiative where all elected and appointed state and local officials in Illinois have to pay 2.5% of their compensation up to $100,000, and anything over $100,000 up to $200,000 pay 5%, and if they make over $300,000 they pay 10%, and until the pensions are funded at 110% of funding.
Yeah. Well, number one, I don't want to pay elected officials public salaries anywhere near six figures. We already pay them too much. They should have their state representatives, I've long said, should have their salaries indexed to the median household income in Illinois, and it should only increase when the median household income increases. That would be a starter. Also, they shouldn't get pensions or health insurance, period, full stop. But even if we adopted what you propose for this small, relatively small, even though we've got, 20,000 elected officials running around the state, more than any other state in the nation, more units of government than any other state in the nation. Maybe that has something to do with our financial problems. Gee, I don't know. But even if we adopted your proposal, that would take us 1,000 years to pay the $130 billion in unfunded pension obligations, plus to keep up with the benefits that are being conferred on a daily basis, which we're not financing. We're financing with pennies on the dollar in terms of commitment. So I appreciate the sentiment, but that's not going to do it. Terry, thanks for the call. Mike on the north side.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. A couple points everybody forgets about Janice and that is that these union bosses forget they work for us. We pay their salaries. They have the fiduciary duty to do what's best for us. But every 2 years, we get a mailing from our district council or our international telling us to vote for all the Democrats in Illinois who voted to gut the pensions. They're more worried now, the union bosses, about pushing this social justice warrior crapola down your throats. And when you bring it up in a meeting and say, hey, this person voted against us on the pension. Oh, well, there's nothing we can do on that. Well, if you're not going to protect my pension, why am I paying you union dues? If you're just going to take my money and spend it any way you see fit, you're like an ex-wife. It's like alimony. As soon as I can get out from underneath that, I'm going to do that. Thanks. Why should I pay them? Dan, This September, when I get the letter from my union, I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to see every Democrat that voted against the union interests, they want you to vote for. And that's what the Democratic Party does. It tells you, you have to vote this way or else. And when they sell you out on public education or, police services or a public worker's pension, they tell you to just be quiet and eat crap.
Yeah.
And that's why people are turning away from them.
Well, I hope the last part of what you're saying turns out to be more true than it has been. But I've said this for years and years and years. People like me who've been advocating for rethinking how we do public sector pensions in the state for decades. We are on the side. We are on the side of the public sector pensioner, and the people you're supporting, including your union bosses, are not. You don't get that, and unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people are going to get it until they're getting IOUs in the mail instead of pension checks. We got to go, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, apologizing to a listener. But first, here's your forecast. It's going to be hot with some sun. High today of 94 degrees. Your weekend looks like this. Saturday, clouds and sun for Rockin' for the troops. We do have a passing shower, thunderstorm, a high of 88. And on Sunday, humid, some sun, a shower, thunderstorm in spots, a high of 86 degrees. Let's get into the alarm detection systems traffic center. Good morning, Jim Talamonte. I haven't spoken to you once today.
Well, good morning. Good to talk to you, Amy. Happy Friday. Good morning, Dan. Here's some good news. Tollways are lighter than usual. We still have some delays on the tri-state northbound, 75th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to Irving Park. And on the northbound Veterans Memorial, slow in pockets from 63rd to St. Charles and Lake 290, but other tollways are looking pretty good. Eden's 19 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. Kennedy inbound delays start at Montrose. 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32. Mount Ike, 56 minutes, 390 to downtown, 35 from Manheim. Outbound 58 minutes to 390. The big jam is from the Tri-State to Addison Road. There's a crash on the left shoulder. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Up on 36. Ryan, 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. All clear on I-57 at the Bishop Ford. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. You're welcome, America. And that's not a statement a resident of Illinois gets to make very often with sincerity. But the nation owes a debt of gratitude to two Illinoisans who advance the cause of liberty for millions more Americans through their courage to dissent. Pam Harris and Mark Janis are their names. Pam is the mother of a young man with developmental disabilities who resisted SEIU's attempt to force parents of children with disabilities into its union, literally pitting parents against their children. Pam took her case all the way to the Supreme Court, which ruled in her favor in 2014. That set the table for Mark Janis, a child support specialist for the state of Illinois who challenged his forced membership in and financing of AFSCME. Mark took his case all the way to the Supreme Court, which ruled in his favor in June. Without Harris, there would have been no Janis. Without Janis, public sector workers in 22 states would still be second-class citizens with respect to their First Amendment rights. Courage begets courage. As I know them both, I can tell you what they would say about the history they've made. Don't worry about remembering our names. Focus instead on emulating our example.
Hey, got a great night's sleep last night thanks to MyPillow. And you know who else sleeps on a MyPillow? Oh, yeah, President Trump, our 45th president. He, the owner of MyPillow, Mike Lindell, and the creator of MyPillow, met him at a rally last month in Fargo, and the president recognized him and endorsed MyPillow right there on national TV. You can move the fill to give you support regardless if you sleep on your back or side or stomach. And you never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. MyPillow, made in America, washable, dryable, 10-year warranty. Who puts a 10-year warranty on their stuff? And a 60-day money-back guarantee. And for the month of July, it's the buy one, get one free offer. Buy one MyPillow, get a second pillow absolutely free. Also, if you go to MyPillow.com, there's other items, including pet beds, sheets, and much more. And they're 30% off right now. So go to MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201.
Your local 1-hour heating and air conditioning knows how miserable it feels when your AC goes out. You want it fixed fast, fixed right, and get a fast quote. Unlike some companies, we don't give you a quote until we actually see what the problem is. Then we'll give you our straightforward price and always stand by our work. Right now, get savings on any AC repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1-HOUR.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Looking for a fun summer vacation idea? Charlottesville in Albemarle County, Virginia is a short and easy trip with daily nonstop flights on 2 airlines from O'Hare. Tour the homes of former presidents Jefferson, Monroe, and Madison. Sip wine at one of the area's 30-plus wineries. Take a hike in Shenandoah National Park. Dine al fresco at one of the many farm-to-table restaurants, or stroll down one of the longest pedestrian malls in the country. Plan your trip today at visitcharlottesville.org.
Looking to secure a mortgage? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Abby, millennial, purchasing a home. So her father, Sal, recommended she secure a Team Hochberg approval before speaking with a realtor. Abby naturally consulted with her friends who've never purchased a home before and applied online. Abby called her dad because the online lender wasn't responding to her emails. Sal told her to stop messing around with the online lender and call Team Hochberg, the only lender he trusted to help his daughter. We approved Abby to purchase a home, and Team Hochberg's real estate experts found Abby the perfect home. The internet's great for purchasing socks, shoes, and underpants, not mortgages. When securing a mortgage, you can either waste your time getting terrible service from online lenders, or you can call Team Hochberg at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Being successful in business means overcoming enormous obstacles to serve your customers and community. AM560, The Answer, wants to shine a spotlight on businesses that are thriving. We want to celebrate their success by finding out what makes these businesses unique, successful, and what we can learn from them. We want to know how you built it. Presented by Chicagoland Waterproofing. To tell us how you built it, go to 560theanswer.com/built. That's 560theanswer.com/BUILT. Sponsored by Signature Bank and Ozinga.
When you're looking for a caring dentist and an experienced dental staff who'll treat you like family, then it's time to call Dr. Y at Oaklawn Dental LLC. Dr. Yerkes and his team will create a smile that you'll want to share with family and friends. Go to oaklawndentist.com for a complete list of services, or call Oaklawn Dental for an appointment with Dr. Y at 708-424-5700. And for a limited time, get a $100 credit on your new account. Call 708-424-5700. Oaklawn Dental LLC for the smile you deserve.
Every time I get an invitation from the AARP, I rip it up with relish. I throw it. I just tear it apart. I it goes into the trash can with a big sense of purpose. Why? Because I joined AMAC. I don't want to join AARP. AARP was against the tax cuts. AARP sided with Pelosi and Schumer. AARP supports Obamacare. Well, Dan Weber founded AMAC. Less than $20 a year. This organization is now over 1 million members strong. I'm one of them. Go to amac.us or call toll-free 888-262-2006. When you choose AMAC, your dollars go to support your ideals, your values. Like getting rid of Obamacare, protecting our borders, protecting our Constitution. Join AMAC today. Go to amac.us. amac.us. 50 or over, you're going to want to join AMAC. Go to amac.us or call toll-free 888-262-2006. 888-262-2006. Join AMAC today.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, so yesterday we were talking about this homeless man from Miami.
He's in Miami, yeah.
He has no arms. Oh, no, he has no arms. And he stabbed a Chicago tourist who was with scissors. So he stabbed him with the scissors and then got up and ran away. And then later he was arrested. They didn't cuff him because they couldn't. Oh, I mean.
You just can't stop. I mean, it's just
And
the hate. Where is this bottomless reservoir of vitriol you have for the disabled?
Well, I don't.
Where's this come from?
No, and this is, so then it led into these, what's a guy's name with no arms and no legs on your front porch?
What's that?
His name's Matt. And it just went on and on.
It's like when you break the seal, you can't stop. No. You've got it's almost like an addiction. You've got a problem.
One of our listeners was highly offended and called our general manager, Jeff Reisman.
Today is Thursday, approximately 7 a.m. in the morning. I turned on WIND as I always listen to Dan and Amy in the morning. And I heard Amy making jokes about disabled persons, namely those without arms or legs. And she was hysterical and kept making one joke after another. Dan didn't seem to participate in it, although he didn't chide her for saying that. I think it's terrible that she would do something like that when we have veterans in hospitals elsewhere who don't have any arms or legs and would hope that they could be normal like everybody else. I'm terribly disappointed in Amy, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to be listening to your morning show anymore, although I do enjoy Dan's props. If something should be done about Amy Jacobson, I can't believe that she could be so cruel and heartless. Thank you and goodbye.
Now, all right, full disclosure, that was me. I made that call.
The call's coming from within the building.
I took a little shot at me because I wanted it to seem like it wasn't me. But, I mean, you know what a great impersonator I am, like Michael Winslow, Dana Carvey quality. Rich
well,
Little.
I called that listener back. I told her, I think she didn't hear the entire story. And she said, but still, you're such a compassionate person. I love hearing about Peyton and Eli and your animals. You love animals, and you were so mean to the veterans. And I said,
but Peyton and Eli have arms, so you're fine with them.
Oh, my gosh. Stop it. She's going to continue listening to the Dan and Amy show. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness for Dan.
Yes. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of ridiculous cases, day 3 of the Cook County Forest Preserve police officer at 8:08.
But now let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Foodborne illness in the state and throughout the Midwest linked to McDonald's salads. I'll tell you more about that after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
He says their relationship is very, very strong. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News, but President Trump criticized the British Prime Minister Theresa May in a newspaper interview ahead of their meeting today, saying she's mishandling the UK's separation from the European Union, also saying that Boris Johnson would be an excellent prime minister. He just resigned as May's foreign secretary. Nevertheless, President Trump said going into their meeting at the prime minister's country residence today.
Today we're talking trade, we're talking military. We just looked at some incredible anti-terrorism things that are being done here in conjunction with the United States.
There are protests over this visit around England, including a big one in London featuring a giant Trump baby balloon. The president and prime minister just started speaking to reporters now. He and the First Lady meet Queen Elizabeth in a few hours. A former FBI lawyer who traded anti-Trump text messages with the FBI agent she was seeing speaks to members of Congress today. Live in D.C., here's Fox's Rachel Sutherland.
Chris, Lisa Page is expected to go behind closed doors with members of the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees today after having to fight a subpoena. Her appearance comes a day after her former colleague and lover, Peter Strzok, was grilled publicly over those text messages he exchanged with Page during the 2016 campaign. Strzok went on the offense when Republican Louis Gohmert went after him over their affair.
Goes more to a discussion about your character and what you stand for and what is going inside you.
It's to your credibility
and while
lost your credibility.
The exchange played out over shouted objections from Democrats. Chris?
Rachel, a man and his 2 children are dead in an apparent murder-suicide near Houston, Texas. The kids were 7 and 12. Their mom wasn't home. Their grandmother says she was out running an errand with the father of one of those kids, stepfather of the other, came and picked them up and then shot them and himself to death at another home. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Sunshine, 74 degrees, 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 6 are dead, 10 others wounded. After a violent 24-hour period in Chicago, the shootings happening between Wednesday morning and Thursday midday. Authorities call the deaths of a Niles couple a murder-suicide. Marianne and Robert Wodko were found dead inside of their home in the 8700 block of Madison. An investigation determined the woman killed her husband before turning the gun on herself. DCFS investigating after video captured toddlers hanging outside of a window at a building in Chicago's Hermosa neighborhood. The incident happened Tuesday in the 4300 block of West Palmer. Bystander grabbed a ladder and climbed up to help the kids get back in the apartment unharmed. Police do say there was an adult present, but they didn't see children hanging out the window. This morning, investigators will have more to say about a University of Illinois student shot by police. That student is recovering. That 23-year-old was armed last night and ignored repeated orders to drop a gun. He was shot in the leg. Governor Rauner doesn't think people in the state like House Speaker Mike Madigan and believe Madigan should not be able to stay in office for decades. So he's launched another initiative called the People's Pledge to try and impose term limits on Madigan and others yesterday in Springfield. He did so in Marion. Madigan has been Speaker for 33 of the last 35 years. Cubs open up their final set before the All-Star break with the Padres. Sox and Royals close out the first half tonight. The news service of Aruba Tourism. 8:03 is our time. It's time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, a major bank just released earnings. J.P. Morgan Chase is reporting a better-than-expected quarter. Target is kicking up its response to Amazon's summer sale Prime Day. Target is promising special deals on July 17th and says if you spend $100 on Target.com that day, you'll get a free 6-month membership for its shipped same-day delivery service. eBay is offering its own deals, including a free Google Home mini speaker to anyone who spends more than $119. You may have to switch your Walmart credit card. The Wall Street Journal says Walmart has met with Capital One and Goldman Sachs and appears to favor Capital One. Synchrony has been offering a credit card with Walmart for nearly 20 years. The Dow Jones Industrials gained 224 yesterday, NASDAQ up 107, S&P up 24. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It's 8:04. A check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Larry Elder explains how important another Supreme Court pick from Trump is.
Justice Kennedy is retiring now so that Donald Trump has enough time, while the Republicans are still in the majority, to confirm somebody equally, if not more conservative, if and when Ruth Bader Ginsburg retires during the president's term. That could dramatically shift the court. Right now, they are doing a prayer vigil over Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson with a great way to celebrate Independence Day with a bang all month long. In July only, Schrank Smoke & Gun is offering 10 to 20% off all store-owned Smith & Wesson firearms. If you're new to firearms or an experienced owner, don't miss this sale. Generations of customers shop Schranks for the family atmosphere and huge selection of pistols, rifles, shotguns, hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. But hurry, even with the largest selection of new and used firearms in Lake County, inventory changes daily. And don't forget, Schranks offers on-site gunsmith services from simple cleaning to repair. And cigar lovers, well, you'll find your favorites in Schranks humidors along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. Don't miss the July Smith & Wesson 10 to 20% off sale, and check Facebook and Instagram for frequent flash sales. Drive north and save on taxes at Schrank's Smoke & Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. Visit smoke.gun.org or call 847-662-4034.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event. And now, while selection is best, it's the best time to buy. With amazing offers across a full lineup of Ford vehicles, now is the time to make summer go right with Ford, America's best-selling brand. Stop by a local Ford store or shop online at buyfordnow.com, because there is no better time than right now to get behind the wheel of a new Ford during the Ford Summer Sales Event. The Ford Summer Sales Event is here. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on the 2018 EcoSport. Best-selling claim based on 2017 calendar year sales. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 7/31/18. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for qualifications and details.
At 8:07, time for a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. We're seeing major delays on the outbound Eisenhower. It's a bit slow, Oak Park Avenue, 25th. Big delays are from the Tri-State to Addison Road with a crash on the left shoulder. Then from Mill Road up to Irving Park, there's a rollover crash and car fire. 3 right lanes are blocked. It's an hour and 8 minutes downtown to 390. Inbound an hour and 6 minutes with Gapers delays. It's 34 minutes from Manheim. Aiden's 19 minutes, Lake Cook Junction, outbound 34 with a crash before 2 in the right lane. Kennedy, 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound the same. Stevenson, looking at an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38 minutes. Bryan is 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State delays are northbound, 75th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to Irving Park. Veterans Memorial, tight southbound North Avenue to 22nd. Northbound 75th to St. Charles on a jammed Army Trail up to Irving Park, where that crash is a factor. Northwest Indiana's all clear. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, hot and humid with clouds and sun. High 94, partly cloudy, humid night, low 75. A shower or thunderstorm around tomorrow, otherwise humid with clouds and sun. High 88 and a low tomorrow night of 72. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
76 across the board. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 8 to learn how you might fight foreclosure and keep your home.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we've got to talk a little bit of international politics here. This is oh, you think I'm talking about NATO? No, I'm not talking about NATO.
Trump about to meet Queen Elizabeth?
Not talking about Trump and Queen Elizabeth. Not talking about Trump in Helsinki with Putin on Monday. Not talking about trade war with China. I'm not talking about the nuclearization of North Korea. Obviously, of course, I'm talking about something that's of international importance. I'm talking about the Cook County Forest Preserve Police.
Yeah, and the man who harassed a woman who was wearing a Puerto Rican flag shirt. He has been charged now with a hate crime. So it went from a misdemeanor assault to 2 counts of felony hate crime, in part because of this.
Officer, can you I'm renting this area, and he's harassing me about the shirt that I'm wearing.
It was her 24th birthday party, and as this man approached the woman behind the cell phone camera, she started rolling.
You should not be wearing that in the United States of America.
Okay.
Are you a citizen?
Yes, I am a citizen.
Are you a United States citizen?
Can you please get away from me?
Then you should not be
Can
wearing
you
that.
please get away from me?
Wearing United States of
Officer,
America flag.
officer, I feel
Not
highly
Puerto Rico.
uncomfortable. Can
Are
you
you a
please
citizen?
grab him?
Officer, can you please buy that man a drink? It's obviously he needs a drink.
Can you get him on his bike and make him ride away, please? The officer has resigned because he was under investigation, assigned to desk duty because he sat there for about almost 28 minutes and didn't do anything to intervene. His name, of course, is Patrick Connor. And yesterday, the general superintendent, Arnold Randall, told reporters that what happened was outrageous.
His resignation is flagged in his personnel file with discipline pending, which means if he were to reapply with us, obviously he would not be rehired.
Right.
So rest assured, the public should know that he's not coming back to the Forest Preserve. Police.
Right. You won't see him at the Forest Preserve when you visit your local Cook County Forest Preserve. But you might see him because in county government when you go to, I don't know, Stroger Hospital or something.
Yeah.
He'll probably end up.
He can get a job with Streets and Sand. I mean, there's a lot of jobs that he can get.
I think he'll probably, or maybe be like the head of pediatrics at Stroger Hospital.
Well, the Forest Preserve police chief, they have one. His name is Kelvin Pope. He talked about this issue.
He just, considered it being a really unfortunate incident where he really wasn't given a fair shake.
Well, he wasn't given a fair shake because the day before he was set to be interrogated about the incident, he resigned from the department.
Well, I don't know. How is that not getting a fair shake? Yeah, he chose to resign. So I'm confused as to exactly what the chief.
The chief? They have a Forest Preserve chief.
He's got a little badge and a hat and everything. What he means
Harry.
when he says you didn't get a fair shake. Look, I understand, though. This is sort of a jarring event for everybody in county government, every Cook County resident, because you've never seen an employee fired or removed from his position in Cook County government. So this is new, and we're all getting used to it.
The woman who was wearing the Puerto Rican T-shirt, the birthday girl, Mia Izazaria, sat down for an interview yesterday to talk about what life is like and her reaction to the police officer resigning.
I would never say that I want someone's livelihood to be taken away from them.
But here I go.
That's out of my character. Even though he did me wrong, I would never say, I want him
dead
to be punished in a certain way. I mean, he definitely needs to be reprimanded because my life was put at risk because of whatever
My life was put at risk.
issues he had, whether it was inappropriate training, whether it was
A blood
something
alcohol
else that
level
he
of
was
0.40.
going through. It put me at risk, and that's not fair because whether it's me or someone else, it doesn't matter who it is. We should be able to depend on a police officer to help control a situation and to help step in and to really protect and serve like they say they are.
The department.
She's a hero now. Is that right? Is that what we're doing? She's a hero now.
Yeah,
this
she's
woman.
the victim. She's a survivor, Dan.
She's a survivor. That is what we're doing. This is so absurd.
It's so absurd that our Cook County Board president took time out of her day to call the governor of Puerto Rico to assure them that this is not going to happen again. Yesterday at that press conference, the Forest Preserve police chief said that this is going to be a teachable moment. The department plans to reevaluate its training.
Let me ask you a question.
Using the viral video to show officers what not to do if similar situations arise.
Right. It's a training faux pas. It's all about training. So when some toothless, drunk 60-year-old on a Schwinn comes up and starts berating a woman in the forest preserve. Hey, why don't you say, hey, guy, move along. Okay, the training session's over. It's been a good week of training. Does that Forest Preserve Police Chief, does he look like Richard Dreyfuss in Moon Over Parador? Does he have one of those, like, tin horn dictator, Banana Republic kind of outfits with the scrambled eggs on? I mean, honestly, by the way,
yes.
that toothless drunk that was accosting her about her T-shirt, you heard the audio. 2 felony counts
of a hate crime. It went from a misdemeanor assault to yesterday, because we mean business here in Cook County. Kim Fox, those folks over there charged with 2 counts of felony hate crime.
You don't get charged with felonies for weapons violations, despite all of the anti-gun rhetoric coming from the Shetland Democrats. You don't get charged with felonies for drug dealing. You don't get charged with felonies for other violent crimes in this county. Certainly not by Kim Fox and the rest of the Democrats who want to open up all the jails and not prosecute the small percentage of predators in these neighborhoods that have been turned into shooting galleries. But this guy, for his ignorant rhetoric at the direction of this woman with respect to her T-shirt and her citizenship, that's a hate crime.
He didn't touch her. I mean, I do not like what this guy did, obviously.
Nobody does.
He's drunk. He's stupid. He's wearing white tube socks and brown shoes.
Oh, that's sure.
That's
an
there.
indicia of stupidity.
Yes. But this is an overreach of power. I mean, this takes away from real hate crimes, honestly.
Well, there's actually it doesn't, because there should be no such thing as hate crimes. What's a hate crime? It's a thought crime. And when you act on thoughts, then we punish the behavior. We don't punish the thinking.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
Lou in Chicago Heights.
Hey, how's this a hate crime? But 2 years ago when those African Americans kids kidnapped that disabled child and tortured him on Facebook and hurled racial epithets, that wasn't a hate crime. I need somebody to explain that to me.
I know it's wrong.
I mean, I agree. I agree with Dan that a crime is a crime, no matter what happens. If it, at some level, there's a hate involved in it if you commit a crime against somebody. But I just remember, sticks and stones don't break your bones. Names will never hurt you.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the call, Lou.
It's just politically motivated. It's just what sounds good, what feels good, what will make the politician look better. I mean, you think that they're not gloating this, that they're not calling the governor of Puerto Rico back saying, hey, you know what? We not only charge him, we charge him with a hate crime. 2 felony counts of a hate crime.
How are they doing with the 6 people that were shot and killed the other night, like Mike Scott was reporting on?
Yeah, 2 nights ago, 6 people killed in one night. It wasn't even the weekend.
You know what I think we need to do?
Ron can't wait for school to start. Yes?
I think we need to shut down the Dan Ryan to stop those killings.
Those crazy ideas.
Sean in Elmwood Park.
All right, Prof. This is the case where your intellect, your erudite Northwestern, what neighborhood did you grow up with? All the churches, Wheaton upbringing. It hurts you more than it helps you, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. The Cook County Forest Preserve Police. This is the way station, the parking lot for the well-connected. Both the ones that are so well-connected, they have to do nothing. It's their version of a ghost job. But then there is the foot soldiers. These are the cousins and the morons at the Christmas party that can't figure out which one's the fork and which one's the knife. These are the pot-bellied lowlifes that they call the Cook County Forest Preserve Police. And the idea that you let these morons drive is offensive to me, let alone carry a gun. See, I live near one of these forest preserves.
Yes.
And when I was young, I was on vacation. My wife picked out the house, which is normal. And she said, listen, it's by a forest preserve. It'll be great. So you're young and you're idealistic. You look at the trees and the
picnic.
snow.
You're going to picnic over there? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's not going to be bad, right? All right, so we buy the house. I don't realize it's the bijou for every sexual deviant scumbag, lowlife, heroin addict on the face of the earth. And they go in and out and in and out. It's disgraceful.
Not to mention, if you don't already know, Amy Jacobson, who's an expert in this space.
Well, I grew up next to a forest preserve.
Right.
Road.
It's also the best place to dispose of bodies, per Amy Jacobson.
That's okay with me. Because as I go, I take my kids when they're little. I buy that little stupid thing in Oak Park where you load them in the back like a wheelbarrow. You ride them around. I go in there, and what do I find? Disgrace. Guys trained the trees. It's pathetic what went on there. So, it was 10 minutes before I'm beating the hell out of somebody by the river, never to go back in the forest preserve again. It's just all disgusting. Shut them all down. Put all old people in their condos. Then you get the lady that called on Amy. Give her a nice free condo overlooking the Des Plaines flood zone.
All right, thanks for the call,
Just don't
Sean.
back your car into a parking spot.
I think
because you know
Sean.
what that means.
Yeah. No, I've heard.
It sends a signal. Dan.
I think Sean should break out his junior G-man badge, and I think he should go get deputized as a Cook County Forest Preserve
We can get
police
the
officer.
cast of super troopers to go in there. I mean, really, that's what it is.
The idea of
the Cook County Forest Preserve police officers look like super troopers.
The idea of putting condos up. Well, nobody's moved to Illinois, so that won't work. But you could do like George Dunn, make more nice golf courses and just outsource it to private management companies.
Chick Evans,
Yeah.
Robert Black.
Dan and McHenry.
Hey guys, how you doing this morning?
Good.
It's nice. It's nice having you and Amy back instead of having to listen to Sean and Bruce. But I was just gonna say that if you put Sean in that position there at the park,
that would be awesome.
And more
You
international
put
incidents.
Sean in that position there at the park as a park ranger, and all he has to do is yell at people, and they'll probably act right. But yeah.
There you go.
My comment real quick on this incident that happened over there. I think that guy went overboard. If you watch the video, it's pretty much classic verbal assault, I would say, which is a crime, but it's not a felony offense by any means. He's obviously drunk.
Yeah.
But he is intimidating her if you watch the video. It's hard to hear that in the audio, but
No, I saw.
he is. He got in her space a few times.
Yeah, like a jagoff. I get it. That's right. He's ignorant.
But
He's
two
ignorant, drunk
felony-
jagoff. Okay, fine. 2 felony counts for hate crime.
Guy doesn't even
Come
own
on.
a car.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Appreciate it. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. I learned a couple of things from the video. Number one, that there were, in fact, Cook County or forest police. I had no idea, which doesn't explain the continuous, uninterrupted sale of cannabis from Wampum Lake since like the 1970s. So maybe the bulletin doesn't get out all the way down there. But what I also don't understand is how, if you can be a drunk, belligerent guy, I get, the public intoxication, he should be cited on that.
Yeah.
Being a jerk, if they had to cite everybody who was a jerk, there would be no rest, because that would be that would also be uninterrupted.
There'd be no
What about
fans
a
at Comiskey.
What about a crime against all humanity, like size 25 yoga pants?
Yeah,
okay,
right, yeah.
That go gyrating around on the sidewalk
Sure.
in the public.
Yeah, all right.
It's horrible. All
Yeah.
right, you can't unsee that stuff.
We'll
for
we'll
being
get
a
Kim
jerk-
Fox on it. Thanks
No, I
for
mean,
the call,
he
Ralph.
does make a good point, though. For being a jerk, he was charged with a hate crime.
Let's see.
So now anybody can be charged with anything after that.
Text
really.
from 773. They named the that forest preserve by Amy's childhood home the Amy Jacobson Senior Prom Memorial Forest Preserve.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? You should know. The credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-518-4020. 800-518-4020. That's 800-518-4020.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Can you imagine this guy's trial? Then the woman wearing the Puerto Rican flag T-shirt's going to have to testify. Patrick Connor will testify. I mean, what a waste of tax dollars to even assign a Cook County Assistant State's Attorney to this.
I got a question since you're sort of an expert in this area. Highway rest stops or forced preserved parking lots, where is more illicit activity found?
I'm going to say with the truck stop Trixies. You know what I mean?
I think I do.
Hey, do you want your basement dry most of the time? Well, if so, Permaseal is not the company for you. All too often, Permaseal hears stories of homeowners who say their basement only leaks when it rains. Well, you don't expect your living room or bedroom to get wet, do you? Then why settle and continue to live with a wet basement? The Permaseal team believes your basement should be dry no matter how hard it rains. That's right. You can have a permanently dry basement. Just give them a call at 800-421-SEAL. They offer a free estimate, no haggle pricing, and a price assurance guarantee. So you can rest assured that you're getting the best value in the industry. Roy Spencer started Permaseal back in 1979, and it's still a local Chicagoland family business doing the right thing and standing behind their work. They also had the most positive reviews of any waterproofing company on the Better Business Bureau website. Your basement is already dry most of the time, but you know who to call if you want your basement dry all of the time. Call Permaseal 1-800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325, or check out permaseal.net.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
You ever see that show, Naked and Afraid?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, something more harrowing for you than that. Escape from Illinois. Illinois.
Is it a new reality TV show?
Well,
or is it just our reality?
It's sort of like Naked and Afraid. The premise is this. Illinois contracts with J. Walter Thompson to come up with a marketing campaign to try and get people to come to this godforsaken place. And they find a couple of yokels from around the country, and they drop them in here and force them to spin through central Illinois, enjoying themselves, and then they use that to try to promote Illinois tourism. Yeah. It's on a digital campaign. 390-mile road trip did Nashville resident Sam Butts and Fort Lauderdale resident Brittany Carroll take together to see Illinois for the first time. And they can't wait to get back to Nashville and Fort Lauderdale, respectively. No, I mean, Illinois is a beautiful state. It's just the politics. I mean, I love Illinois, and especially downstate Illinois, small
it's so
towns.
Gorgeous.
Cool, a lot of cool old
Go to
town
Redbud.
squares. Yeah, you always say Redbud.
I know, but it's a beautiful town.
I know, it's the lottery winner. I get it.
They just opened a new brewery there, microbrewery.
The couple, 390 miles in a weekend. They stopped in Wilmington, Braidwood, Utica, Auburn. See, some of our great nuclear facilities. Alton, Grafton, Springfield, and Starved Rock, of course.
Oh, yeah, that's our...
There were wineries, nature, the Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln history, ziplining, and more. Destinations were selected to raise awareness of all the cool, amazing things there are to do outside of Chicago in a little state we know as Illinois. Yeah, what do you think? And then they're going to do videos. Yeah. Just don't look at the tax bills.
Don't do it.
When you come here, if you're thinking about staying for more than a weekend, just pay no mind
to the tax bill.
Anything you perhaps might see or hear about beyond the Potemkin setups along the Mag Mile and elsewhere.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk a little bit of Trump abroad as well as Peter Strzok before the House Judiciary Committee with Ron Kessler at 8:38.
And later, Twitter purges suspicious accounts, and look who lost millions of followers because of it. But first, let's go into the newsroom. No, not me, Mike.
Not you?
Yeah, here's Mike Scott.
74 degrees and sunshine right now. President Trump says he will press Vladimir Putin again about Russian meddling in the 2016 election. He also remarked this morning at a news conference with British Prime Minister Theresa May that Russia is likely not even happy that he won the White House.
I guarantee whoever it is in Russia, they're saying, oh, gee, do we wish that Trump was not the victor in that election. We have been far tougher on Russia than anybody.
Trump and the Russian president will summit in Finland on Monday. Former FBI attorney Lisa Page will testify before the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Republicans on the committee will press Page about her work on the special counsel investigation into possible Russian collusion between Russia and the president's White House campaign in 2016. They'll also ask her about anti-Trump text messages she exchanged with FBI agent Peter Strzok, who went before that committee yesterday. Johnson & Johnson being ordered to pay over $4 billion. It's a Missouri asbestos cancer case. The Missouri jury yesterday ruling the company must pay that money to 22 women who claim they developed ovarian cancer after using Johnson & Johnson's baby powder, which they say contains asbestos. Johnson & Johnson denies the claim and also denies that the powder contains asbestos. 6 are dead, 10 others wounded following a violent 24-hour period in Chicago between Wednesday morning and Thursday midday. Firefighter and 2 others are hurt following a blaze on Chicago's south side. Fire started early this morning in a building near 81st and South Martin Luther King Drive. Governor Rauner and First Lady Diana officially reopening the Illinois Governor's Mansion after more than a 2-year renovation. Grand reopening is scheduled for Saturday at the historic Springfield residence. There's a new owner of one of Chicago's landmark buildings, formerly known as the John Hancock Center. Local developer Sterling Bay has agreed to buy the office and parking portions of the 100-story skyscraper at 875 North Michigan Avenue for more than $300 million. Cubs and Padres right before the All-Star break, and the White Sox have a series to close out the first half against the Royals. The news service of Aruba Tourism, one happy island of Aruba nestled in the southern Caribbean outside of the hurricane belt, so picture-perfect weather is practically guaranteed. Hop a daily nonstop flight from O'Hare to one happy island and plan your Aruba vacation today at Aruba.com. 8:33, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
How's your breath? If you're not using TheraBreath, it might be bad. TheraBreath is guaranteed to give you fresh breath or your money back. Available at your local drugstore. Visit TheraBreath.com for coupons and locations.
Hey, it's Michael Medved here again for Relief Factor. And recently I read someplace that pain is either the number 1 or the number 2 reason people go to the doctor. I guess back pain is the top of that list, but neck, shoulder, hip, and knee pain are also close behind. And that's the kind of pain that Relief Factor was created to address, even general muscle aches and pains. That's why I suggest you you order the 3-week quick start at ReliefFactor.com for only $19.95. ReliefFactor.com or call toll-free 800-500-8384.
Is your computer slowing down?
Yep, I guess I need a new one.
Wait before you waste your money on a new computer. Go to mycleanpc.com and get a free computer diagnosis. In minutes, you can activate MyCleanPC software to clean out the junk that could be putting your privacy at risk. Unwanted pop-ups, errors, or spam not only slow your computer down, they may allow third parties to track your activities. Go to mycleanpc.com for a free computer diagnostic. Increase your computer speed today with mycleanpc.com.
Max & Shooter's Supply has been raising the bar for Chicagoland for 60 years, proudly serving the community as Chicago's premier gun shop and indoor shooting range. Maxon offers 20 state-of-the-art indoor lanes and was the first 5-star facility to be named in Illinois, one of only 27 ranges nationwide. Come to Maxon this Saturday to celebrate their 60th anniversary, sponsored by Smith & Wesson. Shoot a variety of Smith & Wesson firearms for only $10 and get a free entry to win a Liberty Tech 24 floor safe or a Smith & Wesson M&P pistol. Range passes are buy one, get one free, and all Smith & Wesson firearms will be on sale. Limited edition 60th anniversary t-shirts will be available, and you can help them raise money for USA Cares to benefit veterans and their families. Max & Shooter Supplies is at 75 East Brad Rock Drive in Des Plaines. More information about the upcoming 60th anniversary event can be found at maxonshooters.com. That's MAXON shooters.com. Don't miss it.
8:36. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. And the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic is jammed on the outbound Eisenhower, the northbound Veterans Memorial up to northbound 53, where there's a crash and car fire at Irving Park. It's a rollover. 3 right lanes are blocked. The outbound Eisenhower travel time is an hour and 15 minutes to get from downtown to 390, but it's just 18 minutes to Mannheim. Inbound, Large Park, Gabers, it's an hour and 6 minutes, 390 to downtown, 34 minutes from Mannheim. The northbound Veterans Memorial delays are heavy from the Army Trail Toll up to Irving Park. Eden's 19 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 33 after a crash before Toohey. Kennedy, 38 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38 minutes. Ryan is 36 minutes, 95th to downtown. No delays to report on I-80 or in northwest Indiana. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sunny and hot today, a high near 90, partly cloudy. 74 overnight, shower or thunderstorm and times of clouds tomorrow, a high near 85. Currently 76. Next news at 9, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity. Right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. There are a lot of spirited exchanges between Peter Strzok and members of House Republicans in particular. Most of the spirited exchanges from Democrats are Gerald Nadler and others to Bob Goodlatte, the House Judiciary Committee chairman, crying about the questioning or attacking, if you will, of Strzok at the hands of reps like Jordan and Gowdy and Louis Gohmert, who really got it off to a rollicking start.
It's a personal attack. Okay, next gen, turn it on.
To FBI agents around the country. You've embarrassed them. You've embarrassed yourself. And I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eyes and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
Mr. Chairman,
shame on
shame.
Please, have you Mr. Chairman, this is intolerable.
Harassment. Intolerable.
You need your medication.
God, where's your decency?
And the best part is, you need your medication.
I mean, nice effort to do a little Joseph Welch to Senator McCarthy, Joe McCarthy. Have you no decency, sir? Except he did have the affair.
He did, and I wonder.
And he's a communist.
And stop. I wonder if his wife was watching. Honey, I'm home. How do you think that went? Hey, how was your day? Well, it was a little rough. 10 hours at work.
Yeah, they're still working it out. I don't know if
I'm pulling for those two.
The 10-hour hearing is probably going to involve more post-hearing counseling sessions, I would suspect. For more on this topic and others, including the president abroad, we're pleased to be joined by Ron Kessler, New York Times bestselling author of books on the Secret Service, FBI, and CIA, and his latest, The Trump White House, Changing the Rules of the Game. Ron Kessler, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Always good to be with you.
So, how do you think that Strzok testimony went?
It was sickening, for someone like me who's covered the FBI going back to J. Edgar Hoover. I've written 3 books on the FBI. I've interviewed literally thousands of FBI agents who would never, express these outrageous political opinions, regardless of whether they're personal or public. It was sickening. It was outrageous to see Strzok smirk constantly, seemed to be enjoying himself, seemed to be laughing at the members. Really, never actually apologized. He said he regretted these comments, but never actually apologized. Never showed any remorse, and yet he was the lead agent on the Hillary and the other investigation, the Russian investigation. At the same time, the hearing didn't produce any more evidence that his bias, which he kept denying that he was even biased, affected the investigation. The Inspector General did say that it's possible that his political beliefs resulted in the delay to announce the Wiener work on the Wiener laptop.
But the point of the hearing in public was not to get any new information. That was never going to be forthcoming. The point of it was to show the American public what a D-bag this guy is, and for them to further question the legitimacy of the Mueller probe, of the FBI senior leadership, of all of it, right?
Yeah, and of course the Democrats kept veering into policy issues involving Trump, including NATO. It's remarkable to me that on the one hand, Trump is criticized for supposedly sucking up to Putin, but then and undercutting NATO. But at the same time, what is Trump actually doing? He actually is urging NATO to increase defense spending, which is to defend against Putin. He actually imposed severe sanctions on Putin, and yet they don't seem to understand the discrepancy between what they're claiming, which is that Trump is some kind of puppet for Putin.
Well, speaking of that, on Monday the two will meet in Helsinki, Finland. What do you think each hopes to get out of their meeting?
Trump, as I say in my book, The Trump White House, Changing the Rules of the Game, is above all a deal maker. He uses the carrot and the stick. So when he says something positive about Putin or about the North Korean leader, it's part of the strategy. And at the same time, he uses the stick. He imposes sanctions. He threatens the North Korean leader with annihilation. And that's the way CEOs work. If you're going to be the CEO of a company, you're going to try to flatter the person you're trying to court. And yet people don't seem to understand that. But the results are clear. Whether it's the economy, the unprecedented low unemployment rate, unprecedented low black unemployment rate, almost totally getting rid of ISIS. Just each one of those remarkable achievements for any president.
So the other day in Brussels, he chided Germany for their deal with Russia to essentially strike an energy deal with Russia, an oil and natural gas pipeline, and as you mentioned about calling on NATO allies to increase their contributions to the common defense. Then yesterday he sort of went after Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, who's in trouble politically for offering weak tea on Brexit, suggesting that if she continues kind of down this middling path, that any trade deal between the U.S. and the U.K. is off. We'll just make a deal with the EU. That would make more sense. Do you say is Trump somebody from your personal interactions with him where when he senses weakness from, sometime allies, sometime adversaries, he is going to exploit that weakness, try and leverage that weakness for his advantage?
Yeah, to some degree, but more importantly, he's going to amass strength on his side in order to get what he wants, and what he wants is common sense. Of course, increase defense spending by NATO countries. Of course, Germany is going to be vulnerable to Russia by agreeing to a pipeline to supply 70% of its fuel energy from Russia. If you look at each one of Trump's goals, they're perfectly reasonable, and he will make outrageous comments to get attention. He will beat up on various individuals, but he gets what he wants. I mean, really, in the end, he almost always wins.
Do you get the sense, though, that even some of the outlandish comments he makes and the posturing and so forth, that he knows where the lines are, the lines that shall not be crossed? So thinking about Putin on Monday, he can't go there and accept his annexation of Crimea. He can't go there and indulge Putin's revanchism. Does he know that line exists that shouldn't be crossed?
He does, but he doesn't see any point to sitting there and denouncing Putin when he wants something out of Putin. What is the point? He will take action. He imposes sanctions, as I mentioned, including against the inner circle of Putin's regime. By increasing U.S. oil production and drilling, he is undercutting Russia because Russia depends on selling its oil for its economy. So that's the way he operates. He is strategic. He's not a fool. He's not impulsive. If you look at how he went about deciding on the new Supreme Court nominee, it was very, very deliberative and went on for some time. He will make a decision, but then in an important decision like that, he'll sort of double check with a lot of people. So he called various friends that I listed in the book. He has about 12 billionaire friends that he usually calls. And he'll even ask anybody, a Secret Service agent, a chambermaid, what do you think? Because he believes in the common sense of the working man.
That's how you'd make all your decisions. You consult with your team of 12 billionaires, Amy.
Right, exactly. No, but honestly, he really, even on the appointment of a Supreme Court justice nominee, he would consult a FBI agent and ask them what they think?
Yeah, he would. Absolutely. I remember, I've known Trump for 2 decades, and we see him at Mar-a-Lago, and I remember last New Year's Eve, and by the way, I had the only interview that he says he's given for a book, or will give for a book as president. It just so happened that there was some issue going on with the settlements in Israel, and he asked me what do I think. Well, I don't know a thing about the Middle East, honestly. I know as much about the Middle East as he knows about the Talmud, but he asked me, what do you think? And I gave my opinion. So I'm not a chambermaid, but absolutely he will do that. My home contractor says to me, I don't care what Trump says, I just care about what he does. And that's the sort of common sense working class perspective that values results and doesn't really care about whether Trump creates a big controversy, but with his words.
He is Ron Gessler, New York Times bestselling author of books on the Secret Service, FBI that he mentioned, and the CIA, and his latest that you want to pick up, as you mentioned, exclusive access to the president, the Trump White House changing the rules of the game. Ron, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard us say if your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy.
Also, if your gutters, siding, windows, or entry door is needy,
call Crumweedy.
What's that all about?
This is Mark Olson.
And Greg Olson, the boys from Crumweedy.
We created a special deal just for you. Replace your roof and receive free gutters. Or replace the siding or windows on your home and receive a free entry door.
We'll do a great job, and you'll get the Crumweedy promise of installation that is up to manufacturer specifications, so your warranty is intact.
And get free gutters or an entry door as a thank you. Some restrictions apply, and this special won't last long.
We fix roof, siding, and window problems. We're here. We're a third-generation family business that was built on the same conservative values as you. If your home is needy,
call Crumweedy.
630-595-8020. 630-595-8020.
Get all the info at myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that use Balance of Nature as well.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Did you know that you could drive 5 different brand new Metro Fords for less than $8 per day? Metro Ford introduces the Easy Ford Upgrade Program. It's easy, it's fast, and you could be driving the nicer, newer vehicle you deserve for less than $8 per day. Now's the time to upgrade to a new Ford Fiesta, Focus, Fusion, EcoSport, or Escape for less than $8 per day at Metro Ford. All credit is considered and no proof of income is needed. Metro Ford specializes in drivers with fixed incomes, including Social Security, disability, and retirement. Good credit, bad credit, or no credit. See Metro Ford today and drive today. Metro Ford is located at 6455 Southwestern Avenue in Chicago. Or visit Metro Ford online today at emetroford.com. Since 1984, Metro Fords are everywhere. Make the easy upgrade and put one in your driveway. emetroford.com.
Napa know-how.
It's officially the best week of the year. Why? Because this week only, you get 20% off at Napa. And the only thing better than quality car parts is 20% off quality car parts. Okay, so we're a little biased. But don't wait, because the 20% off sale will be over before you know it. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, exclusions apply. Minimum 3 items. Offer available July 9th through July 15th.
What do you hear? Most people just hear an engine. We hear a 6.2-liter Hemi V8 with a supercharger that accelerates so fast, it'll suck the air out of your lungs and knock you back in your seat like you're an astronaut in a rocket ship hurtling through the stratosphere. But then again, we're not most people. We're the Brotherhood of Muscle. Dodge. Domestic, not domesticated. Dodge is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
My story includes multiple physical and emotional affairs.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, pornography.
My wife found out that I had betrayed her. She insisted that I would go to the everyman's battle. I had some idea, perhaps, of what to expect, but I had no idea that it would have the impact on me that it did. There's just something about the way that you meet in a large group and then the smaller breakout groups. And the sharing is just something that I've never experienced before.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or log on to newlife.com.
This was the first time in my life that I ever felt comfortable in sharing the real me with other men. In my mind, it is one of the most critical things that a guy can do in his recovery.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Is your property just not selling fast enough for what it should? Are new customers not finding your business? It's not the market, it's your marketing. 3D Roomscapes can change all that. Showcasing your home or showing your business with still photographs is outdated, folks, and doesn't give a real feel for the space. With 3D Roomscapes, three-dimensional virtual tours can navigate a property online as if you're there in person without leaving your home. Just think of the convenience, being able to explore properties online or inviting people into your business, allowing them to imagine what it looks like to do business with you. 3D Roomscapes makes it happen. From aerial interactive shots with a drone to a fully mapped 3D tour, it's surprisingly affordable. Go to the number 3droomscapes.com today for a free consultation. At 3droomscapes.com, you can browse their 3D virtual tours. And for a limited time, they'll create a free custom YouTube video with purchase of service. 3droomscapes.com. That's 3droomscapes.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
So Twitter purged suspicious accounts yesterday, and look who lost millions and millions of followers. Take a guess.
You're
No.
mostly being followed by like Russian bots, right?
Exactly. No, former President Barack Obama lost millions of followers. He went from 104 million to 101 million. So that means he lost 3 million Twitter followers.
Boy.
See
nicely
how I did the
done.
math?
Does that mean he's now fallen behind Justin Bieber in terms of Twitter followers?
That's funny. Yeah, Obama currently ranks third behind Katy Perry and then Justin Bieber.
Really? That says a lot. Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, Barack Obama in the same breath. That seems appropriate to me. That sounds right.
President Donald Trump went from 53.4 million to 53.1 million, so that's not that bad.
And
how many did you lose?
I don't know.
Oh wait, are you following me yet on Twitter?
No, Twitter kicked me off of following you when.
No, they did.
When they were
seriously.
suspicious accounts.
Do you know that's really Peyton and Eli were very upset when I told
Why?
them that you weren't following me on Twitter because I thought it was rude.
Why is it rude? Why?
Because I spend time with you every day, and it's I follow Keith, I follow you, I follow Marcus Brown. I think Jeff Reisman has a Twitter account.
I don't have time to
hear what I have to say.
Exactly.
But you can escape reality because I post pictures of stray cats and bulldogs.
Yeah, that's
fun stuff.
You're really
nice
you're really selling me. Yeah, I mean, I got there's like filtering out all the blather and stuff.
Blather?
I don't follow that many people, and
Did
not that many people follow me. I don't like people. People don't like me, and we like it that way.
Then there's a fake Dan Proft out there too.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? What is it? I think it's. Do you know who it is?
No,
Dan
I don't. No.
Barron. Do you know who it is?
No, I don't. I don't know who it is.
Did you lose any followers?
Yeah, I guess I lost a few. I don't know.
Oh.
Unlike I know you're supposed
to
do
feel bad
this.
about yourself now.
I don't index my self-esteem to how many people are. I don't get the dopamine kickback on tweets or Facebook likes
and
or
retweets and all
Instagram,
that.
whatever you do on Instagram.
You don't predicate your happiness on the follow Twitter.
Yeah, I don't live in social media. Here's something, a beach read though for you. I won't follow you, but I'll give you a recommendation for a beach read.
Well, thanks, Dan.
Let me
new
just
book?
set this up.
I am going to the beach today, so what do you got?
It's a high-stakes thriller that combines a mystery worthy of Watson and Holmes with the laugh-out-loud bromantic chemistry of Lethal Weapons, Murtaugh, and Riggs. Can you guess who the new crime fighters are, these fictional crime fighters in this new novel?
Streets and Sand Workers?
Yes, Streets and Sands Workers from Chicago. That's such a compelling character. They're not going to be actually individual people. They're just going to have uniforms.
Tiny Dancer? And their little houses?
That's the book.
Lollipops?
The book title, Hope Never Dies. Does that give you?
Oh, Barack?
Uh-huh.
And Michelle?
Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Oh.
The cover art is Joe Biden driving like a Camaro with Barack Obama standing up, like pointing straight ahead. Hope Never Dies. These are the new crime fighters. Just real quickly, Amtrak Joe spent decades traveling via train from Delaware to D.C. when he was in Congress. And when his favorite railroad conductor dies under shady circumstances, Biden takes it upon himself to find out the truth. The situation comes at a complicated point for Joe, who's wrestling with mortality, how to still best serve the USA, and why Barack can't be bothered to call.
Oh, boy.
Doesn't it sound gripping?
Yeah.
Can't wait till they option that to a movie. Maybe that could be one of Obama's Netflix productions.
There you go. Thanks for making us part of your week. Thanks to Quinn McCarthy, Joshua Buckhalter, who's filling in for Justin Kosick, and then, of course, Keith Conrad. We're back here Monday morning, bright and early, 5 a.m. Have a great, happy, healthy, safe weekend. Now let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
The deaths of a Niles couple have been ruled a murder-suicide. Video